and then
Ready
let
to
me
make
get
everybody angry.
opinions.
Kyrie is
Opinions.
trash. Kyrie sucks. All right, the Kyrie defense force will be in the comments of your video now. Congratulations.
Should I just start the video? Like, I just feel like we got to start the podcast like
I
that.
mean, that could be a powerful intro.
Yeah,
It
I
could
mean,
be a powerful intro.
because technically,
Kyrie sucks. Cheers, my friends.
well, on that note, welcome everybody to Yapdom Hearts, where I yap with Kingdom Hearts content creators about all things Kingdom Hearts.
Or
Uh,
former.
ex- Except for this episode where I have a former, but also kind of not because he makes content, but he makes content for my channel and other people's channels.
I am a public servant. I live to produce content for others.
That is true. It is the one and the only Mystic D Vaporeon.
Yes, sir. Hello,
Woo!
everyone. How we doing today? How we hanging?
The specialist of special guests.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The professional yapper of all yappers is here.
Hell yeah!
What can I say?
But
What can I say?
I will say though the did you ever have you ever discussed the content creation thing? Like, is there a reason why you stopped making videos, or is it
So,
just that? Is there a story behind that?
so I started posting content on TikTok back when like COVID first started, just because it was
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, much as probably everyone can relate to. I was fucking bored. I was
Mm-hmm.
bored out of my mind. I was like, I was in school at the time, right? I was in college at the time, and all of my classes were online. I wasn't leaving my house. Obviously we were kind of, in a pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
as you do. So I wasn't leaving my house, and whenever I wasn't doing classes, I just wasn't doing anything. Like I was like, because I gotten they had like let go a lot of the part-time staff at the job I was at because they were having to make like layoffs because COVID, um,
Yeah, yeah.
which was unfortunate, but it happens. Um,
The silly little
but
pandemic, you know.
silly, the silly little thing that just shut the world down for a long time. It just happens. But no, so I got laid off, and so I was like, when I wasn't doing school, I was doing nothing. So I was like, you know, I've never delved into content creation before, and I've always wanted to. Um, I have no one to talk about Kingdom Hearts with, or
Mm-hmm.
no outlet to like get it out of my system, because I was obsessed. Obviously, still am,
Right.
as you do.
Just a smidgen. Just a
It
smidgen.
I feel like Kingdom Hearts is one of those things, either you're not into it or you're like really into it. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? There's no like middle ground where you're like, it's alright. It's like, no, it's either you make it your personality or it's just not for you, which is
I feel
fair
like it has to be that way because of how the games are.
because
Like,
of
there's
how
no
in
way
depth it is.
you
Yeah.
just can't be casual. Like, you could be casual for sure, but you're just like, there's some people that are like, oh yeah, look, I've played all the games and I'm just normal. Like, if you played all the games, you're not normal.
No.
If you
You
played
can't
every
just be
single
one of those
one,
persons like, I played all the just numerical ones. Like I played 1, 2, and 3. Because
yeah,
if you're one of those people, you're probably gonna be one of the people that's like, yo, this game's kind of ass. Like, this game makes no sense. It's like, I
yeah.
wonder why. You skipped, like, what, 8 games? You're crazy. So yeah, like you said, like, I don't think you could be into it and be, like, chill and, like,
Mm-hmm.
normal. I think you have to get to the point where you just make it your personality. But yeah, so I was like, I need an outlet. I'm bored. I want to talk about Kingdom Hearts with someone. I want to get connected with other people who are into it. And so I just started making TikToks. Um, and I did that for a while until I wouldn't say I got burnt out. It just was like other stuff around me started happening that took up a lot more of my time because I stopped posting around when like the world was opening back up, and so I started having to
Mm-hmm.
actually go to classes like in person, and then I got back to working, like, and it just kind of took up more and more of my time to the point where I kind of had to just be like, okay, whenever I'd be home and I would have the time to make content, I either would have no ideas or I just was like, I'm going to bed. I was like, I'm tired. Um, but now, what the great thing about it is, I met a lot of lovely people that now I just play games with and hang out with, and I help them make content. So that is what brings me here today,
Hell yeah,
because
yeah.
I
Because
met a lot of people.
yeah, your story definitely is very I feel like it's such I talked about this in a previous episode, but like it's crazy how all of us started kind of around the same time, like the
Mhm.
pre-pandemic, pandemic time, and
Mhm.
we all found this like success of like everyone was at home watching videos, and we just all were like at the same time being like, you know what, our special little passion that we have, that's going to be our thing to drive us to making
Yep.
videos. And
Yep.
then I from that well, because like for the longest time I never really interacted with many creators. I think Oath and Dax I had like maybe a few interactions with, but that was about it. And then when
Mhm.
I started because like initially I was posting the clips on TikToks, and then afterwards Dax invited me to the server, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Mystic made this server." And I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, who's this Mystic guy?" And I remember trying to like look into like your account, and I couldn't find anything. And then he ended up becoming so elusive. I was like, I know Mystic in
I
name
became a
and only
ghost.
in name. Yeah, because you're like,
Yeah.
Mystic made the server, and then he never was on the server. Because I'm assuming, going back to what you were saying before about how you were, busy doing stuff post
Yeah,
pandemic.
I just got to the point where it's like I literally did not have any free time to myself for the most
Mm-hmm.
part because I was starting to get really far along in my degree and like all of my free time was spent doing like research for what I was having to like do to pass classes. It got insane.
Mm-hmm. Which is fair, it's totally
Yeah, I mean
understandable.
life happens.
Yeah, but then I think, what was it, the Guess Who video was like the first video that you did the collab with, was it? On Dax's channel? Or was there another one before that?
I think it was Guess Who? Um I want to say it was a Guess Who video. I
Hmm.
can't recall because the like we did both the Guess Who's and then the like if Dax laughed he had to start over one like later I
Yeah,
believe.
which I
But
was in that one too.
I want to say the Guess Who was the first video I collabed with because the thing was I was originally I streamed as well. I um I posted on TikTok and I streamed on Twitch
Hmm.
and I would have like Dax and Oath coming to my stream sometimes and like I'd just be playing through Kingdom Hearts games for a while. But again, I stopped because just life got in the way. But yeah, I think the first video I collabed with others on was was the Guess Who video. That's the
Hmm.
first one that comes to mind.
Because when I did the previous episode I did with Kelly, she was telling me that was the first time she had met you, and then you guys
Mhm.
had really clicked, and then that's when you started showing up in, or like I guess eventually we all became like the group did the multiplayer streams on her channel.
Yeah.
And I think that's how she said you had gotten involved with all that, or how she got to meet you and whatnot.
Yeah, Dax was like, "Hey, I'm doing this Guess Who video with some other creators. Do you just want to be a part of it?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah!" I was like, "Absolutely, I do." Um, I was like, I absolutely do." And that was literally the first time I got to meet, because I think that was the first time I met. I had spoken to Prime before, but I think that was the first time I like sat and talked with Prime,
Hmm.
and that was definitely the first time I ever like met Kelly. And we love Kelly, we love Prime, we
Yeah,
love Dax, we love all of them.
hell
They're
yeah.
the best. Um, but yeah, that was like the first time I got to meet a lot of people because I had talked to Dax before, but that was
Hmm.
the first time I got to like meet a lot of people. So that was really cool. I had a lot of fun with that. Kyrie Defense Force.
Yeah, you
I do not apologize.
gotta
I do
stoke
not
the
apologize.
flames.
I do not apologize. If you want to know why I'm not apologizing, go watch the Guess Who videos.
Hell yeah.
And you can see why I will not apologize for my takes on Kyrie because I'm right. But
We did touch on this a little bit during the trivia video as well, where it's
mhm.
like I think at the end of the day we have the same end opinion. Your approach is different than my approach is, but I think we both want what's best for Kyrie at the end of the day, and just
Don't
hope
yeah,
that she
like
becomes a better character overall.
I would love nothing more. I would love nothing more than
Hmm.
like a Kyrie centered Kingdom Hearts game where now that Kyrie's been training with Lee under Merlin and she's been like training to become a Keyblade master, and now she's probably gonna be Aqua's apprentice, right? Like I would love nothing more than a Kairi censored game and seeing her grow to becoming a full-fledged Keyblade master. But we're
Hmm.
not gonna get it. But I would love that. But Nomura doesn't know what to do with Kairi. Like she's just here, and he's like, "Fuck." Like I don't know what to do with this character now.
Well, it makes me really curious because
Because
like,
like why did we finally listen.
hmm,
I'm gonna get into this. I'm gonna get into
all
this.
right, all right.
So we can agree. We understand why Kyrie was not really like around in KH1 because she was in Sora, right?
Yes.
Her heart was in Sora. She was just a vessel. Makes sense why she wasn't really around, right?
Hmm.
Chain of Memories. She's not. She's relevant in the sense that you know Naminé is replacing Kyrie with herself until Naminé's like, I actually don't want to do this because I think Sora is my friend and I want to be a good person.
Right, right.
W Naminé moment, right? Kingdom Hearts 2 is all about Sora getting back to his boyfriend Riku and his acquaintance Kyrie.
Hmm.
Um, listen, I'm just saying he was like
Yeah.
he saw Kyrie after like finally reuniting. He was like, "Sup." He saw Riku, he broke down. Anyway, that's irrelevant. Um, she whacked a couple of Heartless. She whacked
Hmm.
a whole two. I'll give her credit. I said she hit one Heartless in the Guess Who video. She hit two. My fault. Sorry, I guess. Um, but so it's like, okay, she has a Keyblade now. What are we gonna do with it, right? You know, where is she gonna be fighting alongside Sora? And we don't see her do anything. Like, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong at all because the thing is, it's like they were like, oh, we're gonna throw her in the hyperbolic time chamber and then use her for the war. But then it's like, what, like, you look at what everyone else's training was, just like going from world to world, and that's what her
Mm-hmm.
training should have been. The
Yeah.
concept of like just spar one on one, and then it's like when you play like an online game and you're like, yeah, just go play custom matches and then get good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're not gonna get good by playing against
Just
bots.
load up Smash, play against CPU level 9. Don't ever play against
Exactly.
real players. Surely you'll become a
Exactly.
professional Smash player. It's like, and I think the reason I'm so frustrated is I have no problem with her being like in the hyperbolic time chamber with Lee in
Hmm.
training. If we had gotten to see any of the training, is the fact that we never saw any of it.
Hmm.
The only time we ever cut back to them, they're just sitting around talking. They're never
Yeah.
actually doing any training, and it's like it's so incredibly frustrating because it doesn't make the payoff at the end of 3 feel earned at
Hmm.
all. Because it's like, you what training? Like we never saw it. It's like
Yeah.
I've trained and now I'm gonna help you defeat Xehanort. It's just like,
It,
what training? Like
it,
you just sat around and ate ice cream and cried.
yeah, it definitely
Like
doesn't feel like because in the grand scheme of things, y- it's like what is it, that meme when somebody draws like a picture and it's really well drawn and then there's like the features that are poorly drawn. That's what I feel like Axel and Kyrie are, because it's
yeah,
like, yeah, they got keyblades and yeah, they have like fighting experience, but then at the end of the day, it's one of those things where like they should have just went on their own separate journeys and then be able to develop skills with the keyblade that way. And their whole participation in the war was essentially them being like, hi, we're here to fill in a number or fill in the seats, but then they end up becoming useless because they're like, the fact that Axel got his keyblade like grabbed, and that shows that like the keyblades can cut through skyscrapers. Like
yeah,
that's canon that they can
yeah,
cut through skyscrapers. So you should not be able to
yeah.
touch a keyblade. And if your keyblade can be touched, let alone destroyed by one attack, then that means you're not harnessing the keyblade. Like you're no different than KH1 Sora, or even
Mm-hmm.
just like with the recoded Data Sora.
Yep.
It's just like you don't know what you're doing, and
No.
it's frustrating because like there should have been more, especially with Axel, because Axel has combat experience but he doesn't have keyblade experience. So I think if anything, this is more so like a stepping stone where they're like, wow, we really sucked, we need to do better, so that way we
What they
don't
should
hold
have
the team
done, and
back.
you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. What they should have done is when they made DDD, right?
Hmm.
They should have just thrown Kyrie in there. Just have it be a Sora, Kyrie, and Riku centered story. Just where you play as each of them. That way, like, I don't care if you make the game shorter and add less worlds, but then you just play them between the three people. I don't care if
Hmm.
that got repetitive, right? It's like then like what they could have done is had Sora and Riku go through the sleeping worlds
Hmm.
to, you know, gain the power of waking, and like Kyrie go through her own set of Disney worlds to show that she's actually like training and learning how to wield the Keyblade and doing shit.
Yeah. Well, I think the only issue with that though is that they didn't give a shit about her until the end when Xehanort's like, "You need 7," and
Yeah,
then
we need 7 princesses of light. It's like, oh
Yensid is
shit.
like looking at his hands, and he's just like, "Okay, so we got Sora, we got Riku, we got Mickey. Fuck, who else has a Keyblade? Kyrie. I
Fuck
guess
the
that's
rat.
our fourth."
Fuck the rat. I
you,
hate the rat.
you know what's crazy? Do you see the Instagram post I have of the print of Aqua smacking Mickey?
No, wait. I need to
Yeah,
go look at that later. No, I have
yes.
not seen this.
So I went to a convention and I found this print, and it's like the Batman meme slap where and in it it's like Aqua slapping Mickey, and she's like, "You left me in the realm of darkness for 10 years." Dude, that shit's doing fucking numbers on Instagram for some
Cause
reason.
it's true.
Well,
Cause it's true.
the
Cause it's true.
thing is
He
the
just left her in hell for 10 years until it was convenient for him to just be like, you know what? I we need Keyblade wielders. I know where I'm storing one until I
yeah.
find a use for her. I'm
Oh,
just
I
saying,
will say,
Fragmentary Passage is a phenomenal tech demo. It's not a
hmm
game, it's a tech demo, but it's a phenomenal tech demo.
I will give it credit though, because I do not like Melody of Memories. I feel like it could have been so much better, especially with the plot of the story.
Yeah.
But the fact that I spent $60 to essentially play a fragmentary passage and have no qualms shows that the length of the game doesn't make any difference as long as it's got a good quality story. And I feel like
Yep.
fragmentary passage does do that. Melody of
I agree.
Memories doesn't. Melody of Memories does the thing where it's like there's not even like really an introduction to it. It's just you
No,
get
it's just like
thrusted
start
into
playing a
it.
rhythm game. It's just like,
Yeah.
okay.
And then at the end, it's like, hey, here's all this new information that's essentially going to be the beginning part of Kingdom Hearts 4.
Yeah, it's
And
like, hey,
so,
lore drop.
yeah. And
Like,
so
oh, cool.
it just feels like they could have done a little bit more. Like I would have been okay with like a recoded type deal where they're like, we go to the dream world and interact with the dream version of these characters, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, at least that's something. That's some sort of substance. It would have still fallen under the same umbrella as recoded, where it's like, why did we have to have this? But it would have been
Mm.
better because rhythm games. Also would have been better if they could have added DLC and we could have got more, but um, I
Yeah.
digress. That
I mean,
whole
I
thing is
I
its own
agree.
can of worms.
For what Fragmentary Passage is, it's really
Hmm.
good. I wish it had been more, but for what it is, it's really good.
Right. And it does have like one of the hardest bosses in like the entire, in my opinion, one of the hardest secret bosses in the entire like
Mm.
franchise. Not obviously
Mm-hmm.
to Yozora is definitely number one, but I would say Zodiac Phantom Aqua definitely number two.
Yeah,
Um,
I would agree.
but yeah, no. Overall, I feel like a lot of these characters that have like not had as much development are just waiting to get that development later, and it would have been nice to be able to see them in KH3 to get that moment to shine, but I
It
think
sucks because it's like I want to believe that they're gonna get development later, but I'm at the
yeah.
point where I'm like, do I really trust Nomura to give them development later?
Well,
Because it's
what
like, it's been fucking how long,
mhm.
and Kyrie's done nothing.
Yeah, but I
Like,
guess my thing is I'm curious on how the games are going to go, cuz the only ones we know that are coming out so far are Missing Link and Kingdom Hearts 4. And I'm
which I
curious.
will say. Go ahead, I'll let you finish. I'm sorry.
I was saying I'm curious if any more side games are going to be coming out, because I can't imagine that it's just Missing Link and Kingdom Hearts 4 without any additional games. And obviously, Kingdom Hearts 4 is going to be the first. Like, there's not going to be another side game before Kingdom Hearts 4. I think it's just Missing Link, which is the the link, ha ha ha, between the previous saga to the new saga, and then it's going to start off with Kingdom Hearts 4, which makes me think that if there's more games, is it just this continuous trend of trying to find Sora, and then we go from mainline game to side games, and then eventually another mainline game to retrieve Sora? That's where I'm like, and I've
I
heard
think
rumors
that
that Sora's supposed to be able to come back to the original reality in Kingdom Hearts 4. So I'm really just like curious on how the timeline is going to look for future games, because if we get more side games, then there's more time for those characters to get fleshed out. If we don't, then it might just be like Dragon Ball, where it just becomes the Sora show, which is like, I
yeah,
hope is not the case, because I want to see all the characters interacting with each other.
I really hope not because so a couple things on that. One, I think side games are just always going to be a thing because it's just an easy way to make money. Period. Like it's
True.
just Kingdom Hearts fans are going to buy them. Square Enix knows this. Nomura knows this. We're going to buy it no matter what it is, right?
Yeah.
Can we agree? It's
No, I
like
agree. I mean, we bought JPEGs for who knows how much,
exactly
and they took away our JPEGs, and I'm still
real.
salty about it.
They took my fucking JPEG, bro. Anyway, but yeah, they're gonna. I don't see a reality in which they don't keep making side games for the sheer fact that the side games make money. You know, it's just like they're
Hmm.
not gonna say no to more money. It's Square Enix. They're not gonna say no to more money. Now,
Yeah,
what kind of
100%.
side games we're getting? Do I think we're gonna get stuff like 358 over 2 or like um fucking like recoded? I don't know.
It's hard to say because we just don't know anything. We
Yeah,
we we know that there's the Master of Masters and the Foretellers, so it's like they already have back cover. So it's like, could they really get anything else? Like, it's so hard to really
yeah.
know.
I think here's my two things about that.
Hmm.
One, well, it's really one thing, and then the second thing is something else. So
Okay.
here's what I have to say about that. I think that um they should be aware that they brought back so many like at three's ending, right? I think we can all agree that three's ending is fucking wild, especially when you play Remind.
Uh huh.
Um, with the like Zigbar being Lushu reveal, the foretellers, a box, all that, like everything coming back, right? Yuzora, all that, Quadratum. I think that they've, especially with like Ventus, Terra, and Aqua coming back, I think that they should be well aware, and if they're not, they're delusional. But I think they should be well aware that they have brought themselves to a point now where so many characters that are so beloved or so intriguing are now like back into play, right?
Hmm.
So it's like they have to know that if they do not give them more development, people are not going to be satisfied.
Oh,
It's like
100%. Yeah.
people are going to be so mad if they're like, if Square Enix is like, hey, we brought all these people back, not Square Enix, but like, Nomura and the writers, they bring them back
Yeah.
and they're like,
Hmm.
hey, we brought these interesting characters back. We're going to dangle them in front of you, fucking jingle jingle. Little keys, look, Lushu, Lushu, ooh, buzzword, Lushu, ooh. If they bring them back and then do nothing with them,
Hmm.
I cannot think of a more disastrous decision than bringing all of these interesting prominent characters back and then doing nothing with them. I can't think that would be disastrous. So I don't think they'll do that. I think that we are going to get more side games, and I think that we will get more development on characters that are being reintroduced or like bigger players. Like,
Hmm.
dude, I need more Master of Masters in my life.
Oh,
I need more Master of Masters.
a 1,000%.
Dude, I
Yes.
need I need more Master of Masters. I that scene in 3 of him talking to young Xehanort
Hmm.
lives rent free in my head. Rent free. It's one of my favorite. It is one of, if not my favorite scene in the game.
Yeah, and then
Like
we get a little bit more
it's
in
so
Dark
good.
Road as well too,
Mm-hmm.
which was
Mm-hmm.
nice.
It was so good. So good.
Yeah,
So I think that it would be a terrible decision for them to not expand upon it. And then this is what I was gonna say originally, talking about like 4 and missing Link and all that. One of the things I am most excited about is not knowing where the story is gonna go at this point, because the Dark Seeker saga
that
is
is very
over,
true. Very
right?
true. Yeah.
But since KH2, we knew, okay, we have to defeat the organization. We have to, stop um like Ansem and Zemnis and especially in like DDD and you're like, oh, the Xehanort guy, all
Mm-hmm.
that. Like we've known that like Xehanort's gonna be the guy. Birth by Sleep, we knew Xehanort was a big bad. So we had an idea. We didn't know how we were gonna get there, but we had an idea of like the ending we were gonna get to with the
Mm-hmm.
7 lights clashing with the 13 darknesses. We were like, okay, we kind of know where we're going. I genuinely, anyone who says that they know where the story is going to go from this point, like for sure, they're like, oh, for sure it's going this way. I think you're delusional because
Mm-hmm.
it's like I don't think you have enough basis to say for 100% fact that you know where the story's going to go. And I love that. I'm super excited.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm
Yeah, I mean,
so
there's
excited.
there's some things that we know, like obviously the foretellers are, the whole concept of the true darknesses that are dwelling within the foretellers are going to have a big play, but we don't know if those darknesses are going to take over the foretellers, if the foretellers are going to fight them, if the foretellers are going to team up with the Sora and crew. There's so
Mm-hmm.
much where it's like you can have a general idea of like you have a very vague, I shouldn't say general, you have a very vague idea of the direction it could go in, but we have no solid ground until Kingdom Hearts 4 comes out. Then at that point the theories will run fucking wild, because then we're back at
Oh,
the beginning
dude,
where we're like, okay, we have all this ammo, so many questions, and we have like so many different paths that we can go down in. And that's
the
why
theory the
honestly,
theory game is going to be crazy
oh, it's
with
gonna
KH4. It's going to be insane.
explode.
It's going to be
Yeah.
insane. I'm so excited. I can't wait, truthfully.
Yeah,
I'm
and
so
it's
ready.
so like one of the reasons Kingdom Hearts 3 is one of my favorite games is because when Union Cross was going on,
Mm-hmm.
I made a lot of friends uh through that game, and we still kept in touch like through a Facebook chat. And
Yeah.
when Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, we all were just like talking up a storm when like one person would beat the game, and then we'd have like the conversation like, oh, what's your favorite part? Oh, I really like this part. And then someone else came in and they were like, oh, I just beat the game, and then the conversation just restarted. But
Yeah.
now it's going to be that, but with an entire saga. And not even is it just one group of just like random people. It's like friends that I've met and known for like the last year who know
Mm-hmm.
just as much about Kingdom Hearts, because like obviously everybody who was in that chat, in the Kingdom Hearts Union Cross chat, like they were all pretty, I mean, if you're gonna play the phone game, you got to be pretty adamant like of a fan of Kingdom Hearts. But it was always one of those things that
Spend
you
money
could
on
tell.
JPEGs,
They spend
please.
money on
Please
JPEGs,
spend
yeah.
money on JPEGs, please. We're
But
begging you.
I could tell like my level of like addiction was like I was the only one on that level. And
Yeah.
now that I've encountered the TikTok side, and I'm like, wow, I'm like
These people are
amongst
just
my
as mentally ill as
peers.
me. Let's go.
Exactly. And the
Let's
fact
lock
that
in.
I could just imagine you, me, Kelly, and Dax just being in a stream, or just like any, just it doesn't even have to be a stream, just like in a call, and just like pop off about every little fucking
Oh,
detail.
dude, if you think that I'm not about to fucking yap my head off during 4, you're crazy.
Oh my god.
I will not shut dude, I'm sorry for the person I will become when Kingdom Hearts 4 drops because I will not shut the fuck up. I just simply won't. I simply
No,
won't.
I don't blame you. I would think that there'd be something wrong with you if you weren't that
Like if I
person.
play KH4 and I'm like, it was I,
Yeah.
something's wrong with me. You know?
Oh, 100%.
Something's wrong with me. Like I don't know.
But yeah, no, I don't know. Like I keep thinking about like what direction the games could go in, and I think there's one that I mentioned that I think could be a good
Mhm.
path, which is like, so Kingdom Hearts 2, we start off with Roxas, and so the
Yeah.
beginning of the game was like the tutorial with Roxas. And I'm wondering if it's the same with Kingdom Hearts 4, where it's like a tutorial but with Sora and Quadratum, and then it cuts off to like the rest of the game. You get to play as like the other cast of characters, and their whole thing is like they're trying to find Sora.
That's what I'm
Um,
thinking because
mhm.
I agree with you. Because the like gameplay trailer that they showed of like Sora going to fight Darkseid and Quadratum, like I feel like that's just gonna be the tutorial. Kinda
Yeah,
like Roxas fighting the giant nobody in his tutorial.
yeah. And
That's what I agree with you.
I think if anything, they might splice in moments of just like Sora in Quadratum, just kind of like going about his like daily life. But I feel like they're gonna try to keep it a mystery, and then maybe towards the end of Kingdom Hearts 4, they find a way to get to Quadratum, and then like um, it ends there, and then we get a bunch of side games of the characters doing their own like missions and whatnot, and I
Give
don't
me
know.
playable Aqua. Give me
Yeah,
playable Aqua again,
yeah.
please,
It's
please.
I feel like we definitely are gonna get a
Birth by
game.
Sleep 2.
Well, that's yeah. I guess technically, Fragmentary Passage wouldn't. Well, no, yeah, Fragmentary Passage would be Birth by Sleep 2. We got to get a
No,
Birth
it's
by
Birth by
Sleep
Sleep
3.
1.5. Birth by
Yeah,
Sleep 1.5 because we
that
can
is
only play as
true.
one of them.
That is
I need
true.
another Birth by Sleep where I can play as all three.
Okay, no, yeah, you're that is factually correct. You are correct. Um, but yeah, I because we know that Aqua, Terra, and Ventus are in the realm of darkness. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if that's enough to fill up its own game. Maybe they could do a Birth by Sleep style where it's three different stories, but instead of playing as an individual character, you get to play as teams. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
the Days team, Birth by Sleep team, and then Mickey and his team. Because
Ricky
well,
team.
I
Team
guess that.
Ricky! Woo!
Well, I guess technically Mickey's not in a team because Donald and Goofy are in the underworld, so they're
Mm-hmm.
off doing their own thing. Where Mickey was assigned to go investigate Skull Kylum.
Mm-hmm.
But technically, I do have a theory where in the beginning of Union Cross, you see Mickey, Donald, Goofy, Chip, and Dale all in Daybreak Town. And so I'm
Yeah.
assuming that when Mickey goes to Skull at Kylum, he finds like a copy of the Book of Prophecies, and then he
Mm-hmm.
brings it back to Disney Castle, and then it becomes recoded where he puts it in the machine, and then they enter the book via the machine the same way
Mm-hmm.
how they did Jiminy's Journal.
Yeah.
Um, so it's possible that could be a factor, but like I said, it's really hard to know. The biggest thing, though, I'm excited for, if there's one thing that we can allude to, is that if we get to fight the foretellers, that shit is going to be bonkers. Because we already saw the fight between Aced
Dude.
and Envy in back cover, and the fact that Aced has this, like, gravity pulling ability, that is going to be such a wild
Dude.
fight.
It's gonna be crazy. It's going
Yeah.
to be so fun. It's gonna be so fun.
And like
Nah.
I can't even imagine if Zora is nutty as he is to fight the Master of Masters, to fight him is going to be so crazy. It's going to
I'm
make
just saying,
Zora look like
I
child's
don't think
play.
anyone will be satisfied unless Master of Masters is probably the hardest boss they've ever introduced.
That is
Like, he
true.
has to be, right? It would only make sense if he would be, like, the hardest boss.
Hmm. I just feel like he's going to be like they have to go in some sort of like really like have you ever played Majora's Mask at all? The Zelda game on the
Not
N64?
really. I
Okay.
just because a lot of, like, the N64 Zelda games, I'm not the biggest fan of.
I mean, it's
Sorry,
fair.
guys. I think Ocarina is just okay.
No, I agree with you. I grew up playing
Um,
Ocarina, and I think it's also okay. But the reason I bring it up is just because the final boss fight in that game is very like it has like it goes to multiple stages and it gets wilder and wilder, and a lot of it too has to do with the fact that like you're fighting like a like not necessarily like a godlike deity, but it's like a very like scary type creature that grows stronger and
mm,
stronger. And I feel like the Master of Masters needs to embody that sort of atmosphere where it's like you fight him and then he just becomes like this crazy beast the longer you fight
oh
him.
yeah,
Like that's where
yeah,
my mindset goes to like a boss fight with him.
yeah. It's got to have more than one phase, surely,
Oh,
surely. There's no way it only has one phase. Like, two or three, not one. No way.
maybe 13. Huh?
Oh, oh, oh! He said the number.
Yeah,
He said the number.
that would
He
be
said the
so
thing.
nutty if you had to, because like I think the most I've ever seen a boss fight have phase wise in like one go is like four. Final Fantasy 13 2 comes to mind. That shit was fucking bonkers.
You know
Um,
what? You know what boss fight has the most phases in Kingdom Hearts for the most annoying fucking reason? Ansem, KH1. I hate that shit.
Yeah,
I
no,
hate
yeah,
Ansem
that is
because
true.
you fight him on the beach, and then you fight him in the little thing, and then you fight him as a fucking spaceship,
Yeah, yeah,
and there's no saves in between. It's 3 different boss fights, but
hmm
it's 3 different phases of all the same boss fight because you
yeah.
there's no saving or healing in between. It's dumb. Sorry, I hate the final boss of
No, I
PH1. I
mean
think it's terribly done.
it's a valid opinion. I think yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I for my side don't really have an opinion on it. I think it's
Mm.
always just been kind of like whatever. I think the only times I've ever had like a strong opinion was obviously the Tron fight in or the Rinsler fight in Dream Drop, which we've
Oh,
already
it's so bad. It's
yeah.
so bad. Dude, that should give me vertigo, bro. I
Oh,
hate that fight.
100. Dude,
It's so
on,
bad. I've been
honestly,
replaying DDD recently, and I'm dreading getting to Tron. I'm just like, I, I don't know if I can do it, guys. I don't know if I got it in me.
DDD I feel like has the probably the most trauma induced bosses because you
Oh
have
yeah.
Rinsler, you have Spelikin, and you have
Mm-hmm.
Julius, which is just like a trio of just
A
like
bad time.
I'm like I think back to Kingdom Hearts 2 and the hot rods in the Timeless River, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, yeah, that shit was ass. Yuzora
Dude, I hate those.
also ass in the way that trauma like it gives me trauma, but I
Yeah.
think back to Dream Drop and I'm just like there's so much about it every step of the way where I'm just like I'm scared and I'm like no other game I
No,
could say
I'll
makes me
literally
feel
be
that
playing
way.
because like, what's crazy about DDD, and you can tell me if you feel this way or if I'm just crazy,
Okay.
right? Feel free to disagree with me. DDD, its difficulty level is so insanely inconsistent. It's crazy.
hmm
Like, why are some of these bosses the freest things I've ever fought, and then some are Tron?
Well, even just the regular like dream eaters that you fight against are tough. Like and
Yeah.
I remember specifically there's this one part in The World Ends with not The World Ends with You. The World That Never Was with
Mm-hmm.
Riku's part and I remember there's like a hallway where it has that rail that you can grind. I specifically
Mm-hmm.
remember this because I would hop on that rail to get to the next area so the dream eaters would despawn
Yeah.
and it was so difficult and I was like
Mm-hmm.
but for what, and then you have to keep going down this hallway and then there's like a bunch of other bosses or not bosses but enemies that show up that can like charge at you at like full speed and there's no like you and I think this is before you get to that final part of that world, so I guess it
Mm.
makes sense that they throw a bunch of shit your way, kind of like before you get to the data battles in Kingdom Hearts 2. You have that fucking long ass hallway to get through.
Yep.
um so it's just one of those things where I'm like, that hallway though, trauma, because that shit was just fucking hella nutty. But in regards to bosses plus just world overworld enemies, yeah, DDD takes the case for that, and it's just so inconsistent,
It's
especially
so
when
inconsistent.
you get to end game and it's just like it just cranks the fucking dial, and I'm just like, but why? But for
If you're
why?
someone i- if you are someone that wants to go play through DDD and you're like, I just want to have a good easy time because this game has no consistency in its
Mm.
difficulty, just use Balloonra. Just make your life easy.
Yeah.
Just use Balloonra. Just
So
just use Balloonra and Shock Dive. That's it.
I
That's all
didn't
you need.
I didn't realize how broken Balloonra was
It's so good.
until I had to fight Julius, because the thing is
Mm-hmm.
it's like I used Balloonra, but I only ever had one in my deck. And then when I looked up guides online on how to beat Julius, everyone's just like, "Oh yeah, just
Spam Balloonra.
run in Balloonra, and then cure." And I'm just like,
Yep.
"Really? Is that what it is?" Fucking changed my life.
It's free. It's free.
Yeah.
Like
It
Balloonra is just free win.
It's just like when I found out that the easiest way to beat Roxas in Kingdom Hearts 2 is Sonic Blade. You just
Mm-hmm.
do Sonic Blade and
Sonic Blade and
it's easy
Reflect. That's
peasy.
my two.
hmm And then Kingdom Hearts 3 using the Simba summon is honestly pretty busted because you can just jump over everything and nothing can attack you. Um and then obviously like if any moment you can attack, you just use your finisher. I used the Simba summon a lot against the Zigbar data battle, the
Mm.
data fight in Kingdom Hearts 3. That shit,
You know, I've
like,
never used the summons in KH3. I've never used them.
I've only ever used Simba. Simba. I wish I if I could probably pull up my my stats for beating Kingdom Hearts 3, and if it says anything about summons, it would probably be like, oh, he summoned Simba like 300 times because Simba
Yeah.
is such a fucking lifesaver. I
And
didn't
I'm not trying to
care
say that
much
and
for
be
the
like,
rest
oh,
of
I
them.
don't use Sigma, I don't
Uh,
use summons. It's a flex. No, I literally forget they're there. I just forget they're there because I
no,
use
that's
summons in other games. Dude, KH1 summons
mhm.
are like crucial. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah.
but I just forget they're there in 3 because you have attraction flows, and I'm just like, I'm gonna use this instead.
See, I
Fucking,
was
you're
the
fighting
opposite.
Aqua in the realm of darkness. Boat. Consider that pirate ship.
See, I was the opposite because I never cared much for the attraction flows because a lot of them kept you stationary. So I
Mm-hmm.
would just use the summons, and then there was a few summons that I couldn't necessarily like figure out, which honestly was all of them. The only reason I figured out Simba is because Simba is just jumping on things, roaring, and then turning into a
Yeah.
fireball. But like the Wreck-It Ralph summon was just like you build stuff up and then you break it, and I'm just like, I don't really care for that. The
I mean, like,
aerial one
whenever I
was
would see the
okay.
summons be
Mhm.
used, whenever I'm watching other people play, I'm just like, they just don't look that fun.
Yeah, I will say the Meow Wow summon is great
Meow
if
Wow looks like a good time. I agree. Meow Wow looks like a good time. Just let me fucking bounce around on here, do belly
yeah.
flops.
So
I do like the Meow Wow.
in Monstropolis, there's a part where there's all those laser beams. You just hit
Yeah.
Meow Wow and you just go through the entire thing, no damage.
Oh, I
Yeah,
never thought
yeah.
about that.
I think technically it would work the same with Simba, but I think Simba might be
Mm-hmm.
too big for that map. So Meow Wow is like the best if you want to be able to maneuver it and then see where you're going.
I've never thought about that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I remember watching somebody do that before, and I was just like, huh. Well, I'll have to keep that in mind if I ever go through and play replay Cage 3, which I do plan to because I haven't beaten it on critical mode because when I played the game, critical mode wasn't out yet. Um, and I
Which,
have
can we talk about that? Like, why? Why did I have to wait for critical mode to be added in a
uh
DLC?
I think Nomura wanted to be a sassy little guy and just want everybody to be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
proud mode's too easy, Nomura. Like, what's going on?" And he's just cooking in the back, like, "Oh, you just wait." Because critical
Yeah,
mode,
he
oh my god, Cage 3
he
critical is
dropped
on a
critical
whole
mode.
other
He
level.
literally, okay, so it's so funny, right? Because like the thing about KH3, everyone was like it's too easy because they were just doing magic builds. Because I don't know if you ran a magic build when KH3 first released. Fucking broken. Magic builds were insanely broken in KH3, right? Because like
Hmm.
you could just spam Thunder and kill everything. Like just spam Thundaga and everything dies, right? Magic builds were broken. So they said, hey, yeah, Nomura was like, hey, hear me out. You get critical mode, no more magic builds. He nerfed them into the ground. It was the funniest shit I've ever seen because people were trying to run through critical on magic builds. Like they had the game like before critical mode was in the game, and they're like, what is going on?" They're like, "I'm doing Thundaga and it's doing no damage." It's like he hella nerfed magic. It was so funny. Nomura is a sassy little guy. Let me just tell you
See,
what. I love
I,
Nomura.
I knew that we were in serious trouble when I booted. I did attempt a Cage 3 crit run, but I don't think
Mm-hmm.
I made it past Arendelle. But the moment they're like, "Oh, you can carry over your keyblades," and I was like, "That's kind
That's
of
a game changer.
busted. That's kind of busted." And then
Yeah.
I brought him over, and I'm like, "Well, I'm not going to use my keyblades. I'm just going to do Kingdom Key for Olympus Coliseum." Got my fucking ass wrecked,
Yep.
fucking
Dude.
so hard. And then I was like,
The lava
"Okay,
titan. Dude,
what?"
that little fucking spray beam shit as you're trying to run
Mm.
up to the pillar. Oh my god.
Well, the
I
fact
hate that.
is, I ended up breaking down and just using Ultima weapon, and
Yeah.
that shit still it doesn't make a
It's hard.
difference. Ultima weapon in the tutorial, you're still getting your ass handed to you.
Yep.
I will say the hardest part that I do remember is the sled part in Arendelle with the dragons that are chasing after you, because you only get hit, I think, twice and then you're done.
Oh, Arendelle. I was thinking of Tangled the Corona World. I was like, Sled. Yeah.
Oh,
No, the Arendelle one where the dragons are chasing you in the snowstorm.
yeah. Yeah.
Dude, that
Very,
shit was crazy
because it goes
on
on for
critical mode.
so long.
It's
And the
like a
fact,
2 to 3 minute long sequence, which doesn't
right.
sound like a lot, but when you can get one tapped, that's a long time. That's
Dude,
like, dude, that shit had me stressing.
and
My anxiety was through the roof.
the thing too is that the proud mode versions of the data battles, a third of them were so difficult. I remember the Xehanorts particularly were very difficult. A lot of the other ones, like Marluxia, Larxene, were
Shion,
pretty simple. Xion was a fun ass fight. I honestly would say
it's so
Xion
fun, but
was
holy shit, is it hard.
yeah. And then on top of the fact that they introduced the whole like, oh, if you get hit, your health bar gets decreased. And I was just
Yeah,
like, okay,
yeah.
thanks for
Thanks,
that.
game.
And then they're like,
Awesome.
but we're also going to put that in with Xehanort, and then we're also going to put that in with Yuzora. And I'm just like, great. Now I know what the new meta is moving forward when it comes to these secret bosses.
Don't get hit. Just don't ever get hit,
A
I guess.
real, yeah, it's just like, oh, I'm sorry, you don't want to play level 1 on crit? Well, sorry about that. We're going to make sure that you're playing level 1 on crit, whether you like it
Yeah,
or not.
yeah, literally. No, Shion was a fun ass fight.
Yeah.
So hard, but so fun.
I would honestly say it is my favorite boss fight. The moment that I got in there and I just went toe to toe with her, I was just like, this was so well made. Like
I just
this is fantastic.
they nailed the data battles in KH3. They nailed
Mhm.
them. They're so fun.
Yeah.
I mean, make me want to like cry, but they're so fun.
I would say in the degree of difficulty. Okay, so I guess I can't really realistically have an opinion because I've done all of the crit data battles on KH2, but I've only done the proud on KH3.
Mm,
So for me, I would say that the crit obviously in KH2 is more of a challenge because there was a lot of just easy mode boss options in KH3, but crit mode I'm sure will be a whole different beast. And I still couldn't even beat Yuzora on Proud. I've yet to beat Yuzora to this day. And I
yeah.
cannot even imagine trying to verse that man on Proud or on crit. It's gonna
I
happen.
won't do it. I just straight up will tell you that like I'll play through the game on proud,
Mhm.
and then when I get to Azor, I'm just like, no,
Yeah. Well,
no, like
so
I'm not putting myself through that.
the thing with me though is that like having to go through all the data battles, and I got so burnt out. And so it got
Yeah,
to the point where so I never even messed with the cooking in that game, like at the bistro. So I was just like, oh, well, I've been able to play this game on proud mode, no problem at all. And then I got to the data battle, so I'm like, I need to start cooking with Remy, like, because there's no way I'm getting past this without
yeah,
some
those
food.
stat buffs are needed.
Yeah. And then after doing so much studying when it came to like, oh, what's the best food option? How do I approach these data battles? You get to
Hmm.
Yuzora and everything is just thrown out the fucking window. He takes your
Yeah,
Kupa coin,
everything
he
you've
takes
learned to
your
that point
Keyblade.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, and then I'm just like, I don't have the mental energy to deal with this right now. So I took a break and then I never came back to it. Um
So that's so real of you. You just like me for real. You just like
so
me for real.
I feel like when I do my final or do my official KH3 crit run, I will try my best to like do it all in one setting and try not to get too burnt out. But um but yeah, no, that shit was that it is a lot. It is a lot. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, and I'm honestly terrified. I used to be so afraid of like playing the game on crit, and then I played all the games on crit, and I was just like, oh yeah, crit's not scary at all. But
It's not
now
that
I'm
bad.
fucking terrified of just KH3 crit alone. Like that shit gives me fucking like the bosses in DDD trauma. KH3 crit is it's a whole different level of just like you're not even
Yeah,
playing
he
Kingdom
literally,
Hearts, you're playing
Nomura
Dark
literally
Souls at
said,
that point.
"You're complaining that my game is too easy. Let me make it
Uh-huh.
fucking impossible."
Which is why I feel like
It's
Proud
crazy.
was so easy just so he had the excuse. So it was never, so nobody could complain and be like critical was too hard, because nobody in
Everyone
there.
said that Proud was too easy. The game's
Exactly.
too easy.
And
Guess what?
so
No magic builds. Everything one taps you. Have
this is
fun.
this is I feel like was this master plan the
Oh,
whole
you've been
time.
stuck in the tutorial for 3 hours? Tough shit. Like that's
Yeah.
it's literally crit mode in KH3.
Because everybody would be on his ass if he dropped crit mode day one and that shit was way too fucking difficult. And then they'd be like, Nomura's stupid for making such a hard mode. And
Yeah, they'd be
then
like, "Who did he
instead,
think was gonna be able to complete this?"
right. But then instead, it was like, okay, we're gonna tease them with the easy proud mode, and then we're gonna fucking sock them in their fucking faces with this crit mode.
Yeah.
And he fucking came in with a fucking Nomura vengeance, I swear. I don't know if that's true or not. That's my headcanon. I know
I
that
mean, it feels pretty true. It
he
feels true.
so from what I understand, Nomura usually beats his games, beats like all the bosses the games when he when he's working on them. He
Mhm.
did not beat Yuzora. That man was like, "Wow, I wanted to make Yuzora super hard and the team pulled through and I could not
Yeah.
beat Yuzora." And so I'm like, if Nomura can't even beat his own game, and it's just like that just proves that he was like, welcome to Hot Ones. My last wing is gonna be every sauce that's ever existed onto one wing, and then I'm gonna just shove it down your fucking gullet. Is what
Yeah.
that
And
fucking
you're just gonna have to take
scenario
it.
was.
Good
Yeah,
luck. You wanted
yeah,
it, right? You wanted this.
exactly. Yeah, it's like you thought the first wing was bad. You thought the first wing was easy. Okay, all right. We'll see till
Yeah.
you get to wing 10, and then we'll see how you feel.
In the wise words of Hades, I can always turn up the heat.
Exactly.
Literally
Exactly.
Nomura when making crit mode. And Yuzora. Just Yuzora in general. Even on
Mhm.
standard. Just Yuzora.
God, I
Because
just.
the amount of people that I talk to, they're like, dude, I didn't even beat Yuzora on standard. And I just have to be like, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
you just have to be like, yeah, that's fair. It's like, I'm level 99 standard and I can't beat Yuzora. It's like, I mean, that's just him.
Yeah, that was my mindset too. I don't even think I got to max level. I think I was like in the 70s when I tried to fight him. So I'm like, I
Mm,
should have probably. I needed to like probably go back and grind, but I was just like, no, I could do it. I could do it. I didn't have to grind for the other games. I could do it.
yeah.
Uh,
Like, I've never had to grind for a secret boss before or save for, like, Lingering Will. But
mhm.
I don't think Lingering Will is touching Yuzora.
No, it's definitely in
It's
like
just
the
not.
top. It's in the top like maybe 5, top 10,
Oh,
but
for sure.
not in the top 3. I think the top 3 in my honest opinion goes to Yuzora, Zodiac Phantom Aqua, and the mysterious figure from Birth by Sleep.
Yes. Dude. You want to talk about a boss fight that I just. The mysterious figure, man. That shit gave me trauma.
That
That's my
is
trauma boss.
out of those top 3, he was the only one I was able to defeat, and that shit took me like a week. I had to take so many breaks, and my
I think I.
thumbs have probably never recovered from that.
No, I think I. The first time I ever fought Mysterious Figure, I sat there and just grinded it out for like 4 to 5 hours. And then I just was like, fuck it. I was like, I can't. I took like a month-long break from the game and just played other Kingdom Hearts games. I was like, I'm gonna come back to this eventually, but I can't touch Birth by Sleep right now. And I
Mhm.
eventually came back to it, and after like a solid week, was like, okay, I can get this done. And I got beef with Mysterious Figure. That boss gave me trauma, bro.
I
And it's
will
just
say I did beat it with Aqua. I wasn't even gonna try it with Terra or
I
Ventus.
feel like you have to play Aqua to fight it. I feel like the others' movement are just not there.
Yeah, no, 100% I agree.
I feel like Terra's way too slow, and Ven, he doesn't have the right you can't build Ven the right way to deal with Mysterious Figure. You can build Aqua the right way with like her commands, right? Because they have commands that are specific to each of them.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I feel like you need to be Aqua. Like I feel like you need to.
Well, for me, it helped to be Aqua because there's the extra stuff at the end of Birth by Sleep where you get to
Mhm.
play as Aqua and then
Yep.
you go through the realm of darkness. So at that point, I was like, well, I've already spent so much extra time playing as Aqua, and I think Aqua was the
And
last
she has the best
character.
dodge in the game.
That is true.
Just throwing that in. She has the best dodge.
Aqua was like I think my timeline from both times that I played Birth by Sleep, I always started with Terra because I think the first time Terra was just the first option, so I picked him. The second time is because um the Ericus fight in Birth by Sleep is fucking ass, and I hate having to control Terra. That the
He's
Ericus fight,
so slow.
the lingering will
So slow.
section against Terra Nort was also ass just to play. I'm like I want to get Terra out of the way. Um Ventus I have no opinion on. I think he's okay. And
Ven is just
then
fine.
Aqua was saved for last. And so for the second time, so the first time I played on standard, second time I played on crit, and then so if I finished off with Aqua and I have an additional section with Aqua, at that point I'm like, if I'm gonna fight a super hard boss, then Aqua's the way to go because she's already a higher level than the other two, and
Yeah.
I've already adapted to ways she controls. I feel like she controls better for sure than Terra. I think maybe I could have gotten used to Ventus, but at that point I was too deep invested with Aqua that I was like, I can't do this without Aqua. But then the moment I beat him, and then I found out you don't unlock the Keyblade for everyone else, I'm like, too bad, Terra and Ventus. Only Aqua gets this. Calling it
Mm-hmm.
a day.
Mm-hmm. You know what?
Um,
I'm intrigued. Birth by
mhm.
Sleep opinion question. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
No,
Birth by
you're good.
Sleep
You're good.
opinion question. What's your favorite command form?
Oh,
What's your favorite command form?
it's
It doesn't have to be
actually
character specific, just in
no.
general.
It's that it's ironically enough, it's Ventus's. I forget what it's called, but the one where he has like the spikes. Uh, Not spikes, but like there's the wings, in a way.
It was it like Wingblade? I'm gonna look this up real
I
quick.
think it's wings. It feels like Wingblade sounds right, but that one was my favorite. I thought that one
I
was
agree.
always
That's
so
my favorite
fun.
too. That and I like Diamond Dust a lot. Diamond Dust is awesome.
That one was Aqua, right?
Wingblade. Yeah, I was right. Wingblade.
Let me see.
There's
Missing image.
Wingblade,
Oh
Fever
yeah.
Pitch, and Cyclone. I like Wingblade. Wingblade is fucking rad. The
Yeah, because Diamond Dust was Aqua's, right?
yeah, Diamond Dust was Aqua when you're using Ice Magic.
Okay, yeah, I see now. You know, I would say if I had to pick Wingblade for sure, because that one was just so badass. Just to see like a bunch of swords coming out of
Dude, I
like the
mean,
back of
look how cool this
Ventus.
shit looks. I'm about to send this to you. Look how cool this shit looks. Like, look at that.
Yeah, I'm looking at that same exact fan art.
It's
Yeah, that
so
is
rad.
it's
It's
so
so
badass.
cool.
But see, this goes into like a whole other can of worms because we know Ventus existed in Union Cross times.
Ventus
And
is the oldest character, guys.
yeah, yeah. But the thing is, it's like I would not be surprised if they reveal that he is like a god of light or something,
I can
because
totally see it. I can
that
totally see it.
moment when he knocks himself out in Union Cross when he goes against the darkness, that
Mm-hmm.
shit was just like there's a secret about Ventus that we're just not aware of. And I feel like
Yeah.
that also plays in with Roxas because Roxas is special in the sense that like, he's such a unique nobody, and it's just like if he has the connections or like whatever special elements that Ventus has within himself, I feel like the two of them would be such an unstoppable duo. Again, more
No,
stuff that
I
I feel
agree.
like they could touch on
Please
in
explore this
a
in future
side
games.
game.
Please, we beg you.
Yes,
Please.
yes.
Give us side games with like cool shit in it.
It
I'm
is
begging you.
such a missed
I
opportunity
will
if
buy it.
we do not get a Sweet Life of Zack and Cody world with Ventus and Roxas also being in that world. Because
They have to fight Yozora too.
the thing
For
is that
some reason.
yes, because the voice actor of Yuzora was the main actor in the Sweet Life, but
Yup.
also Jesse McCartney, who voiced both Roxas and Ventus, guest starred in that show. So
Yep.
it's only just fitting. It's kind of like
I mean,
how
it just makes sense.
it's kind of like how in One Piece we have both in Japanese and English the voice actor of Krillin, and
Yeah.
then in Dragon Ball they did a nod to where Krillin's ringtone was the first opening theme to
Mm-hmm.
One Piece. So it's like you have to go to that level of just like self-awareness.
I mean, yeah, like you have to, surely, right? Like surely.
Yeah, I can only hope. I feel like we there's so many potential hijinks that the two of them can get into. Um, that's why I'm like I'm honestly a lot of what I want when it comes to most like games is so I'm a big fan of Final Fantasy X. And a
Yeah.
big thing of why I like 10 is because it's a big group of people traveling and you can interchange between them when it comes to playing. Um, I want that so badly with the remaining cast who aren't in Quadratum, just to go on a big ass journey and you swap out between like Ventus, Roxas, Shion, Aqua, Terra, and Kyrie, and Axel, and just like all of them just go off on this grand journey. And um, I just want the diversity to play, and we
Yeah.
got that a little bit of it, a
Give me
little
other
sample
playable characters, please,
in
please. I'm
Remind.
begging you.
Remind we got it just a smidgen, and so we're like we just need that fleshed out, and that would honestly be my new favorite game.
Dude, getting to play as Aqua and Roxas in Remind,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that literally, oh my god, that did things for me, man. That was
Well,
so I was like sobbing through the fight.
well, if it
I was
wasn't
just like
enough,
so happy to be playing them again.
the fact that so I had the interactions with my Union Cross group, on top of
Yeah.
the fact that I just adored Kingdom Hearts 3 for the fact that we got the resolutions that we had been waiting for years. And then Remind comes out, and then you have the option to play as the other characters, and then there's that scene where they're in the sky and they're fighting against the other the Xehanorts, the
Yeah.
goat Xehanorts,
Yeah.
and then you get to play as everyone else taking turns fucking swinging and doing their thing,
Yeah.
and then the
Dude,
talks
it's so
between
rad. It's
yeah like
so rad.
um Roxas and Ventus having a little quip with one another, and
Yeah.
then Riku and Terra talking, and then for some reason Aqua was just being fucking rude to Axel for some reason, and that was like a thing. And I
My
just
queen, honestly, as she should. I love her. She can do no wrong. I love Aqua. Like, go. She was
yeah,
like, you stole my student.
we need
Give me Kyrie back.
yeah, we just need more of that. I just need more of them just hanging out. I
Yeah.
honestly would be if the Disney Plus series was just them hanging out, I would not be against that. Like that would be such a fun time.
Honestly, that'd be the only way I would accept it. Give me a slice of life anime style series with the Kingdom Hearts characters. Sure.
Yes. Yeah,
All
it could
right.
be
So, are we
the
gonna get into the Disney Plus show? Are
we
we gonna get
can.
into it?
Yeah, I'd say this is a good segue. We can get into
Are we
it.
gonna get into it?
I know
How
you
do
got
you feel
opinions.
before I say anything? How do you feel about it?
Okay, so I think what they're gonna do is they're gonna recap KH1, and I think that's bogus because we already have KH1, we have Recoded, we have Chain of Memories, we
Mm-hmm.
have Melody of Memories, and we
Mm-hmm.
have the story told. The story as told so far, the one with Chirithy before
Yep.
KH3 came out.
Yep.
We already have enough recaps. Dream Drop Distance also has
It's like
written
how in fucking
recaps.
every Batman movie they have to show you, guys, Bruce Wayne's
Exactly.
parents die and he becomes Batman. It's like, holy shit.
So financially, it
Fucking
makes
new ground.
it makes the most sense financially for them to release KH1 because that is the biggest nostalgia bomb that you could drop on people, especially like the very very casual people who've only ever played KH1 like
Yeah.
back when it came out in 2002.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's the direction they're going to go in, which if it is, fine. What they should do, Union Cross. Union
Thank you.
Cross
Thank
is
you.
my ultimate
Give me
stance.
interesting shit with
Now,
interesting characters.
alternatively, Union Cross should be the main pick because that needs another chance, another revival opportunity for people to
Absolutely agree.
experience it. My other side of this is that we get backstory into elements that we did not see previously. So,
Mm-hmm.
how did Terra and Aqua become Master Ericus's
How did they
pupils?
become his disciples? Yeah.
Right. How did the organization, after they became nobodies, fare in like the early period? of being the organization?
Mm-hmm.
How do they find Naminé? Stuff like
Yeah.
that, you know? I would love for multiple, like a 12-part series of just every episode's dedicated to a different element. Or we could even get an
You
episode
mean a
of Kyrie.
13-part series? 13
13.
episodes.
Yes,
13
13.
episode.
13.
Buzzword. Get
Secret.
the right. Get
Yeah,
the right
and then
number.
a
Buzzword. Buzzword.
secret
Jingle jingle.
secret 14th episode gets attached to it as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, we could even, yeah, I don't know. There's so many things that they could do, and that I feel like they could fill up an entire series of just like loose ends that they could just throw in there. So yeah, either Union Cross or covering loose ends. Those are my two stance. I
I
also
could not agree more.
I
That
do,
please,
yeah.
for the love of God, give us a Union Cross show if you're gonna give us anything. Because, listen, I think here's the thing. Even some fan, because like we were talking about, like at the beginning, it's like you can't just be normal and be into the series.
No, yeah,
But I know so many people that have played every game but the mobile game, and I can't blame them. I
yeah.
can't. I can't because it's unbearable to play. Like, listen, I think Union Cross has a phenomenally interesting story. I
Oh
think it's
yeah.
so interesting, right? But it's locked behind being a terrible mobile game that you
Mm.
have to pay money for microtransactions for JPEGs. And it's like, dog, so much of the story of Union Cross is lost on people because they didn't want to play the mobile game. And can you blame them? Like,
No,
I
I
can't.
yeah, because
So
if you look up all the cutscenes for the mobile game, that shit's 10 hours. Like,
it's
who's gonna sit
long.
through ten
It's
hours
long.
just for most of it for just to find a boo?
Especially when especially when it's like it hasn't been relevant to the main story
Right.
until 3, and you see all of the Keyblades like going into the swarm of Heartless, and you're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh shit, they made Union important, like, ugh, you know.
Right.
So
Well,
now people have to know Union, and it's crazy. Right? And you kind of had to know Union anyway because Ventus and
yeah, yeah.
Chirithy and the foretellers and all that. Like, you kind of had to know Union already, but now it's like mandatory. Union was one of those things like if you play all the games, you get 99% of the story. The last 1% you're missing is Union.
Mm-hmm.
Now Union's actually like extremely important. And a lot of people are like, "Oh fuck, I didn't play the mobile game." Like L, unfortunate for me. But
Well,
so please give us a Union Cross show so people don't have to play the mobile
yes.
game or watch the 10 I would much rather watch 10 hours of an actual like media production
Uh huh.
show than watch 10 hours worth of fucking mobile game cutscenes.
I will say, as like just a shameless plug, is that I did go through those cutscenes and I did cut it down to like 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours
Yes,
on my
go
YouTube
watch.
channel.
Go watch.
Yeah.
Go watch.
Um.
If you are like I can't be bothered to watch 10 hours worth of Union content, Brisk has saved your life.
Yes.
Please go watch
Yes.
it because it's actually extremely interesting and it is a genuine like I'm someone who I hate my time being wasted. That's my biggest pet peeve in life. I hate
Hmm.
feeling like my time has been wasted. Going through Union is not a waste of time, especially when there's an abridged version that Brisk has put together for you. It's like it's
Yes.
worth it. It's so
Yeah.
worth it.
It's honestly like the best story I would say hands down out of all the games.
Oh,
Um.
absolutely. Absolutely.
But I would also say that the one thing about playing Union Cross though is that it completely changed the my I don't know if a trajectory or mindset for when Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, right? Because if you played Union Cross, you have all this information of the story, and then you start playing
Mhm.
Kingdom Hearts 3 and you're like, is the events going to be relevant? Because like
Your
what's going on
perspective
here?
completely
Yeah,
changes.
but then you start to realize that like Kingdom Hearts 3 is just a stepping stone. Like
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 3 is just another game. And so
Yeah.
when people were like saying like, "Oh, Kingdom Hearts 3 was so disappointing because I was expecting it to be such this big grand finale." And I'm
It's
like,
honestly
"You
just a
have
setup for
no
the upcoming saga.
exactly. The big finale or the big game that you're waiting for is Kingdom Hearts 4. But you wouldn't
Yeah.
know that until you've played Union
Yeah.
Cross." And it's
No, it's
like,
it's extremely interesting to me because I completely agree with you.
yeah.
Because like Kingdom Hearts 3, I think it's fair to say that I don't think this is gonna receive any disagreement. Kingdom Hearts 3 reception upon release was controversial, to say
Yeah,
the least. And it was really, you could tell who had played Union and who hadn't. Because there were a
exactly.
lot of people that were like, this was the biggest letdown ever. This was so anticlimactic. What, like, we waited for this, right?
Hmm.
And then there are those of us, like me and you, that are like, this is just a game to set up the next saga, and it shows. It shows. It's like, yeah, it's the end of the Darkseeker saga, but really what it is we're gonna show you why Kingdom Hearts 4 is the game you're waiting for.
Exactly. Yes. It was
Like,
always so. It was such like a weird period where people are like, "Who the hell is Aqua, and why is she so important? Why do we need to save her?" Because
who
you have
is
to think,
Aqua? The amount of people who were like, who are these fucking dudes in the mask showing up at the end? Who is this Lushu character? What boss are they
right?
talking
Yeah,
about?
because if you've only played 1 and 2 and you go straight to 3,
You
and
have no idea.
honestly, kind of maybe this is me being a a silly little salty bitch, but it is a little. It is. I revel in the fact that people to some degree were just like, you mean I couldn't just play 1, 2, and 3 and call it
No,
a
it's so
day?"
funny.
And I'm
No,
just
I'm
like,
with you.
you had ample time. They were putting out a new game every 2 years until
Mm-hmm.
Union Cross, and then at that
Mm-hmm.
point, we only got back cover, fragmentary passage,
Yep.
and then
Which
all of
was just
Union
not, which
Cross.
wasn't even a game. It was a tech demo.
Exactly. Yes. But I mean, you had ample time, and then people are always like, "Oh, but I don't own all these consoles." And it's like, yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
2013 happened, and then they put all the games on PS3, and then they put them
Yep.
on PS4, and they put
And
them
then
on
2018
Xbox.
happened, and they put everything on the PS4, the
Hmm.
story so far collection.
Yeah, and then we also have it on the PC, and now we have it on both Epic and Steam as of this recording.
I'm
So,
so excited that they're on Steam because
mm,
here's the thing. There are a lot of people that I have known throughout like my life, like personally,
mm-hmm,
like that I've met through like school or just like social stuff that I've talked to about Kingdom Hearts, and the reason they've never played them was just because they never had the consoles growing up. And
mm-hmm.
like, you know, the 1.5 collection, I don't know if the 2.8 collection is on there, but like I know that
For on
the
Steam.
1.5 Epic Games.
Oh, I think
Um
so. I think Epic. So I think between both Steam and Epic, all the games except for Melody of Memories is the only game that's not included. And then obviously Dark Road and Union Cross are
well,
not
I'm talking about
included.
Epic Games specifically. Epic Games specifically I think only has the 1.5 2.5 collection.
Oh, does it? Oh, I
I
didn't
th
know that.
I'd
I,
have to
I,
double check that. You can
I,
fact check me on that. Let
yeah.
me actually look this up while we're sitting here
Well,
so I
because I
don't like.
know. So from what I remember, because I did a video on this like a while back. This is I think even before the Epic versions were released, but Switch has a collection that has all the games except for Melody of Memories and obviously the
Okay.
mobile games. And I think it's called like the Integrum
Mhm.
Masterpiece. And I think that's the one that they put on Epic. I'm assuming, I haven't really actually looked, but I'm assuming that
As
must be what's
of
on both Steam and Epic.
as of current recording, all the games are actually on Epic. As of when this is being recorded,
And even
all the
Melody of
games are on
Memories?
Epic. Yeah.
Oh. So,
Which is
okay.
actually interesting to me, because I've never seen it promoted. But
Mhm.
my original point I was gonna make with that before I went on a tangent was the ports are bad. Um,
Oh, are they on Epic?
on Epic they're bad. They're very buggy.
Oof.
At least in my experience. In my experience, every time I've tried to play the Epic ports, they just don't work well. Like they're very. The biggest problem I've had is they're prone to crashing. Um, but what I was getting to was like I've known a lot of people that are like they wanted to try Kingdom Hearts and get into it, but the problem was that they weren't console players. They were always on PC.
Yeah.
So like with them coming to Steam, and then becoming like a lot more accessible. I'm very excited to see a potential new wave of Kingdom Hearts players coming in because I think now is a phenomenal time to
Hmm.
become a new Kingdom Hearts fan. Because we're just kind of sitting around in the waiting room for KH4. It is the perfect time to get into it, play through the games, and not feel like you're going to be behind because we don't know when 4 is coming.
Exactly.
It's like you
Yeah.
have plenty of time to get into it. And it's just like
Especially.
if you only want to play, if you're like, oh, but I don't want to play through all of them, can we agree that most of the important story information you can just get from cutscenes?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the whole gist of the whole plot point series that I have is that like I took all the important cutscenes and I put them together. And realistically, out of all the games, like there's probably about like give or take 10 to 15 hours worth of like notable cutscenes, and you could honestly grasp a lot from just the cutscenes alone. Like
Yeah, for sure.
there's a lot of fluff. Obviously, like the Disney stuff's not important, but um, everything else, for the most part, you can garner a lot of information just from the cutscenes.
Yeah, there. It's like Kingdom Hearts 1. Only like half the cutscenes are even relevant.
Yeah,
Like truthfully,
yeah,
half of them are just them dicking around in Disney worlds.
yeah. I remember specifically when I was making the plot points videos, and I was just like, I would look through the Disney worlds, but I'm just like, okay, well, nothing's really like maybe like the scene with Maleficent escaping Pete from like the prison, like
Yeah.
that's relevant, but that's also like the very end of the world. And it's just minor stuff like that.
Are you telling me that all of the Little Mermaid world cutscenes aren't important? Brr,
Right.
Atlantica! Atlantica matters, guys! No, it doesn't. It's skippable. You can skip it, guys. You can skip Atlantica in every Kingdom Hearts game it's in.
Yeah, I didn't know you could do that with the first one.
Yep.
That makes sense though.
It's so funny. I love when I tell people that, and then they just are like mind blown.
Yeah.
They're like, "I never knew it was skippable." I'm like, "I promised you it is. I've never played Atlantica because as soon as I figured out that there was that garbage swim mechanic, I was like, nah,
Yeah.
I'm not missing anything.
See,
Everyone
I'm
hates it, so it's like,
I'm the
okay,
I'm the kind of person that I need to like experience the full game. So for me, I would have been like, "Oh, I could skip it, but I'm gonna force myself to play it anyways." So I don't think I've ever really gotten to a point where I've skipped over anything.
you're better than me.
Uh, I'm sure there's some parts that I've probably like avoided on my replay through. I can imagine. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
I
I
will
wanted
say,
to skip all of Chain of Memories, but I begrudgingly went through
don't
it
we
all.
all? Don't we all? Don't we all
The
just want to
one
skip
the
Chain of
one
Memories?
mechanic I am so glad they never brought back the card system. That
It's
well,
so
technically
bad.
they did in a way bring back cards if you talk about Dark Road, but it's definitely not in the
It's
same degree.
it's not. It's not. There is. I feel like it's non-comparable. I feel like it's
Mhm.
non-comparable. The card system in Chain of Memories, bro, makes me so angry because I'm like, what do you mean I have to do math? What do you mean I have to do math? And how you structure and organize it is actually like really important. It's like, well, you need to have them listed in this. It just pushes up glasses. Like, you need to have them listed in this specific organizational level to where when you're doing selects, you'll get them in this order. It's like, shut up, shut up, shut up.
It's
Stop
too
talking.
much. It's too much thinking
It's
because
too
Kingdom
much.
Hearts is just hit X and jump. That's how I
Yeah,
play at
real.
least.
Let me hit X, hit jump, occasionally press guard and press my triangle button for reaction commands. Please. That's all I want.
Unless you're me and don't guard because you have bad timing. So you just dodge roll instead.
And that's why Reflect was made.
Yes, I will say
That's what Reflect was for.
I did use the hell out of reflect. I mean, you have to when it comes to lingering will. There's no way.
Yeah, Godspeed to anyone who tries to beat it without it. Same with
Yeah.
Larxene. Honestly, Larxene, Reflect makes that fight like less than half as hard. It's so Reflect literally saves you in the Larxene fight. If you PSA, if you're ever struggling with Larxene, just use Reflect.
Mhm.
It
Yeah,
makes it so much easier.
reflect is a fucking godsend for sure. I will say though, going back to like Chain of Memories and Larxene, my hatred for
Hot.
both of them was
I mean, what?
yeah, where's Dax? Where's he's busting
He
through the
he
door right
shows up.
now.
Hey, you know what? He's a man after my own heart.
But no, legit, like I don't really have an opinion on the personality of Larxene. I think she's kind of like whatever. It's just that fight was forever scarred into my brain. That shit was like I remember having to go replay Chain of Memories, and I was like, God, I hate this game because of the combat. And then I saw Larxene, and
Yeah.
I was like, God, I hate this fight. And then Vexen was also ass, and I'm just like, I hate both of these characters,
Vexen's just a
mostly just
bad
because of their
character.
fight. Yeah.
Vexen's a bad character with or without his fight.
But
Vexen's just a walking trash can.
the most important characters, as we came to the conclusion in the tier list
Yeah,
video, S
yeah.
rank, S rank
He really
important.
is. He really is, and it bothers me so unbelievably much that he is as important as he is
Yeah,
because you legitimately like so many characters don't exist without Vexen.
that's true. Yeah, he. I wonder how much more relevancy he's gonna have. I feel like if there's gonna be any characters that are gonna fall to the wayside, it's definitely gonna be him and Zexion. Those two
You
are
know what?
like not gonna be
Good.
very relevant. I feel like, along with
I will
like
say,
Ansem the Wise and obviously Zigbar and not Zigbar, Zaldin and Lexius.
yeah, I will say, I have a character who I'm actually really excited to see where their story goes from here. Um,
Is it Marluxia?
no, it's Demix.
Oh, oh, 100. Yeah.
I'm really interested to see where Nomura decides to take Demix from here, because please don't just make him the comedic relief. Make him a character. Make him something more, because I feel like he has to be more important than the games have let on so far. I feel like he
Right.
has to be.
No,
I'm
100%.
extremely interested in Demix's story.
Because there's that scene in Kingdom Hearts 3 where Xemnas pulls in Larxene, Marluxia, Luke Short, and Demix. And he's like, hey, you guys all have big roles with the Keyblade
Mhm.
war. And then you're like, okay, well, Union Cross for Larxene and Marluxia, but then you're like Luke Short and Demix. It's like, okay, well, they weren't in Union Cross, so maybe they're going to
Mhm.
show up in Missing Link. But then it's like, I feel like what they're going to do is they're going to show Luke Short in Missing Link and not
Mhm.
Demix. And then Demix is going to remain this enigma of a character. Now, I will say, though, I do have a theory. I made a video on this saying that I think Demix is actually Lushu and that Zigbar is pretending to be Lushu, but he's actually Brain, and that the two of them are in cahoots to take down the Master of Masters. And there's like the whole theory of like Lushu's role was to see the events of the future, and then he had to pass the Keyblade down, so he passed it down to Brain, and then Brain went ahead and he did everything with like Bragi, um, uh, oh my god, why am I blanking on it? Bragi, Bragg, Zigbar, that whole
Mhm.
timeline was just Brain
Mhm.
doing Brain things, which makes sense
Mhm.
because if we're looking at the name, it lines up. And then Lucy was like, "Oh, I can't be involved in anything because the master told me I can't. So I'm trying not to like defy my role." So he lets Brain do all the dirty work, and then there's that
Yeah.
period of like Xehanort gets the Keyblade, the no name, and then he turns into like a nobody, and then the organization gets formed. And so it's like, well, the Keyblade's not there to watch over Luxord, or not Luxord, Lushu. So he can
Mhm.
pretty much do whatever he wants, but like he has to infiltrate the organization. So he becomes a nobody, and then he becomes Demix. So that's my whole thing. And then their whole thing is like they have to monitor Xehanort and then get the no name back.
Mhm.
So that they can prepare for when the Master shows up, because we know the Master's planted darkness in all of their students, in all of his students. So and Lushu is aware of this, and he thinks that like the Master of Masters is trying to betray everybody. So I feel
Mhm.
like he's gonna try to get a one up on the Master of Masters, but then he's gonna look like he's deflecting, or he's turned to the darkness, and the foretellers are going to end up clashing against Lushu, trying to protect the Master of Masters. So that's my mindset of like if any story beats happen, like where they try to pull the wool over our eyes, it's going to be like
Yeah.
Zigbar's not actually Lushu, he's Brain, and then they were in cahoots this whole time. Um, that's my thing. If that if that shit comes true, I am going to shit myself on fucking camera. I swear to fucking God, I will have an aneurysm, not out of like frustration, but just out of just like
You
elatedness
called
of
that
like
shit. Yeah,
I
you're like,
call
"I
that
called that
shit.
shit. I don't know.
I
I won."
I'm like, I am fucking, that shit's got like 10K views on it too. So there's plenty of people out there that can point their fingers
That would
back
be
at
like,
that.
holy shit, he nailed it.
Exactly. I
100.
would,
Like
I would die. I would literally
that would
die.
be insane. That
My,
would be insane.
it's like in that, in that scene of, just any anime scene where you just have somebody's ghost that comes out of their body. That's gonna be
Yeah,
me. Yeah.
yeah. No, real. Um, I think that would be interesting. I never really talk about like my theories or opinions or anything.
Hmm.
Um, and that's mainly because it's like I as fun as theories are, I personally don't partake in like forming a lot of them just because I'm like whatever's gonna happen happens. I would
Uh-huh.
rather not be like, oh, I really hope this happens and set up a whole thing, and then if it doesn't happen, be disappointed. You know. So whatever happens, happens. I'm gonna enjoy it regardless.
Yeah.
But I think especially with 4, I'm really enjoying not partaking in anything about theories just because I said this already. I love the fact that like we have no idea where it's going. Like we
Hmm.
don't. We have no idea. So I think like I don't know. I just think it's gonna be so fun to see how everything unravels. You
See,
know?
I'm of the mindset though that like I love to have theories and I love for them not to come true. Because when
Mm,
I put so much stock into how I think that the story is going to go and then it ends up going in a completely different direction, that shit fucking throws me for a loop. Like, I could
yeah.
have not told you in a million years that Zigbar was going to reveal himself as Luciu.
Oh
That
no.
shit caught me so off guard.
Oh no.
And
Dude, as soon as he took his hood off, everyone lost their shit.
yeah, and I'm just like, then you start piecing it together, and you're like, oh my god, it makes so much sense. He's been
Yeah.
hinting at it since Kingdom Hearts 2, and
Yeah,
ever
especially
since,
because after that, I went and replayed KH2, and I was like, "Oh shit! Like he's been letting on a lot more than
yeah,
we ever realized.
and
It's crazy."
yeah, there's just so much about Kingdom Hearts where I'm just like, you could be so prepared and understand the story, and then Nomura's just like, nope, fucking
You know
sidewind out
nothing
of
anymore.
nowhere.
Congratulations.
Exactly. Oh, like Dark Road is a good example where we thought we were Xehanort at the end of
Yeah.
Union Cross, and then Dark
Yeah.
Road, it's like, nope, we weren't. We were the old guy in the fucking robe, and it's just
Yep.
like, what the fuck. Um,
It's crazy.
and then I remember even with like going back to Dark Road, the whole Bragi thing, and people were like, "Oh, Bragi's not Brag or Luciu. Like, there's no way it's the same person." But then I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, "Well, it has to be because the name is too like you can't have Bragi and Brain and Brag and not be related or connected." And so
Yeah.
now it's like, oh well, so that this is where that reveal happened, and then I'm like, oh, of course I expected that. But then they also let on for so long that you ended up getting to the point where you're like, oh, it's not. That's not what's gonna happen because it would have happened by now. And then it did
Yeah.
at the very end. They show it, and then you're like, damn, I expected this, but I'm still fucking surprised. So
Yeah.
yeah, you never really
No,
know. You never really
I'm
know.
I'm I'm so excited, man. I'm so ready. I my interest is like at an all-time high. Like my
Oh yeah.
intrigue and my interest all-time high. Like I'm so curious to see what happens next. Please let Aqua get more screen time.
Oh, 100%. Yes.
That's my request. I
Uh,
totally biased. I don't give a shit. Um she's my favorite character aside from like Roxas. I love Aqua. So please give her more screen time. Please, Nomura. I'm begging.
I
I'm asking
agree.
you kindly.
So, well, on that topic though, do you have a least favorite character? Who's your least
Vexen.
favorite?
Fuck
Oh
him.
yeah, yeah, you did say that. Yeah. Wait,
But
do you have a top three?
top 3?
Top three least favorite?
Oh, top 3 least favorite?
Yeah.
Ooh. Mm, Vexen just because he's a piece of shit. I feel like that's everyone, like Vexen's and everybody's least favorite. I don't know anyone who their favorite character is Vexen. If your favorite character is Vexen, that's like a red flag. You know what
I
I
mean,
mean? Like,
you're
does that
not
make
wrong.
sense?
You're not wrong.
I,
Yeah,
I
it's
feel
a
like
very like
if
weird
Vexen's your
character.
favorite character, it's like first of all, you just have terrible taste because there's so many actually good characters, but also kind of a red flag about you as a person. Um, Vexen's my least favorite character. Top 3 though.
Because like I know there's people who have
Mm.
character they like Lexius, and I'm
I mean,
just like,
Lexius
well,
isn't even really a character.
he doesn't have a lot of screen time. But the thing is, it's like I can understand people at least appreciating him for what he is, because they're just like, oh yeah, he's not doesn't have a lot of to show for. But it's like the
Yeah.
little you have, if you like him, then yeah, good for you, kudos. But then you get people like Vexen, where it's like you really have to have some unique taste to like him from Chain of Memories. And
Yeah.
then even if he
It
like
takes a
redeems
certain type of person
himself,
to like Lexius, and I am not that
yeah,
person. Same with
yeah,
Zoldan. Same with Zoldan. It takes a special type of person, and I am not that person. Um,
yeah, it's definitely, I feel like it's more of like
no
you
hate to you if
thirst
you like
over him.
Lexius or Zoldan.
Yeah.
That's on you. Um, I respect that opinion.
I,
The only opinion I refuse to respect is people being like, "Yeah, Vexen's my favorite." It's like, no, you're just wrong.
wait, what if
Um,
they say that Mickey's their favorite? Oh, I got it. I got
I
you
mean,
right there.
that's an opinion to have, I guess. That is an opinion.
Well,
Um,
what's more of a red
that's just
flag?
self-reporting that you're a Disney adult, like in the
Oh yeah,
purest form.
that's
Um,
true.
no hate, but like that's just what that means. Um, honestly, aside from Vexen, dude, Hainer,
Oh
I
yeah,
am the biggest Hainer hater.
I
I
forgot. Yeah, you
despise this
dislike
man.
him.
Yeah, you listen. You know me, and you know that this isn't a bit because we've talked outside of stream and outside of recording. I fucking hate Hainer. I hate Hainer so much.
Yeah.
He's so whiny and annoying. It's like, dude, just stop crying every 2 seconds about Roxas. No, Roxas is having a crisis. He should be spending more time with me. We made a promise to go to the fucking struggle tournament. It's like, shut up. I hate
Yeah.
Hainer. I'm
I will
sorry.
say, not a fan
Biggest
of that
Hainer
scene.
hater.
That scene of where he's
Um,
just like he sees Roxas hanging out with Cypher and the rest of them, and then he gets upset, and I'm like, come on, dude, like chill
yeah,
out.
he's, yeah, no, not a fan of Hainer.
The big ick.
Um, there's got to be someone else that I just like strongly dislike, right? Oh,
You got it.
I'm ready to get hate.
Oh,
I'm ready to get hate.
well, okay. You say that, I think I know who you're about to say. All right, hit me with it.
Probably not actually. This is a character I don't ever talk about just because I don't
Okay.
care. I don't ever talk about my feelings about this character, but this is a character that I just hate. I understand why they're important. I understand their significance. I don't care.
Okay.
Vanitas
Ooh,
sucks. I do not like Vanitas.
that's a unique take. I have not heard that one before.
Yeah, I do. No, I am totally okay that people are gonna strongly disagree with me. I know a lot of people that really like Vanitas, right? And I think that's fair. I'm saying this into my camera. That is, if you like Vanitas, you fair, justified. That's okay. Great. Me personally, it just feels like he's too edgelord, dude. He's too it's like Sasuke Uchiha cranked up to 11. It's just like there's too much just I'm like you listened to a MCR album before you showed up to this fight. Like I it's too much for me, man, cuz it's like I get he's like an embodiment of evil and negative emotions.
Yeah.
Like I'm fully comprehending and understanding of that. I understand why he is the way he is, but it's cringe. Like I'm like I show up in like I'm playing Birth by Sleep and every time Vanitas rocks up, I just feel like there should be some like, you know, like Pierce the Veil playing in the background. Just some fucking Evanescence starts playing. It's like falling in. It's like dog. It's so nah. So
Yeah. No, I mean, I get you because really, the thing is, he's never really had much substance. He's always
no.
just kind of just like
And this is
Xehanort's
someone with an
lackey.
unversed tattoo, by the way. Like I love the unversed and I love Birth
Mhm.
by Sleep and everything about it. Vanitas is just cringe.
I will say though, Vanitas in KH3 with the Monstropolis world was a nice touch because they're like, oh, he needs to recover his
Solely my
energy.
goat. Solely
Oh
my
yeah,
goat.
yeah. Yeetus Vanitas, never
Yeetus
forget.
Vanitas, bro. Yeetus Vanitas.
But the concept of he Vanitas gets his powers from negative emotions, and he went to the
Mm.
Monsters Inc. world to use the surplus scream energy to restore himself. I'm like, that's smart. That's
Yeah.
pretty
Like that
smart.
makes
Yeah,
perfect sense. Yeah.
yeah.
Like that works. That makes sense. I understand that.
But yeah, Vanitas for me has always been one of those characters that's always just there, but he's never really made enough of a presence for me to have a strong opinion. It's always just like, yeah, he's there. I don't dislike or like him. He's just like in the background. It's kind of like with like I guess you could say a lot of the organization members are the same way. Like it's really hard to have an opinion on like Zexion because it's like what it's like he's just there. Like
He's just
what am I
there.
gonna
Zoldan's just there.
yeah.
Lexius is just there. They're all just kind of there.
Yeah. Then there's some
Yeah.
people who like are there, like Ansem the Wise, where he's just racist, and then you're just like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like the way he
Yeah.
treats Nominate or Roxas, and
Yeah.
I can't really like get past that, even if he's just like, I'm a good guy now, and
I
I'm
think
like,
Ansem
great.
is like right there with Vanitas for in my like bottom three
Mm,
of like my most hated characters. I think Ansem the Wise is right there
yeah,
because it's just like I don't know, man. Being racist is cringe. Like I don't know what
yeah.
to tell you. Like I feel like that shouldn't need to be said.
I just kind of my general answer for who are my least favorite Kingdom Hearts characters just tends to be any old men. There's not a
Yeah.
single old man that I've could say does a good job.
Yeah.
They're all pretty
They're all pretty
booty
terrible.
cheeks. Yeah,
Yeah.
even Merlin, where he like is barely involved. It's like
Merlin's not even a character.
you could have trained Kyrie and Axel a little better. Um, you're not really qualified. I don't know why they entrusted you, but okay. Um, obviously Yensid for everything that happened in Dream Drop Distance. Ericus for everything that happened in Birth by Sleep.
Yeah.
I don't even honestly like Xehanort
See,
is probably
Ericus
the one
for me,
exception because Xehanort is just kind of like doing his own thing, and it's like I can
nah,
kind
I'm
of
gonna do my
agree
own
with
thing.
that. Yeah, but everyone else is just more so like I'm old and this is hindering my judgment because my beliefs and I need to do things a certain way. And then it's
Yeah.
like your traditional values is ruining the lives of other people. And
Yeah,
I
I
can't
would
fuck with
say
it.
Ericus might be down there, but he's got the Mark Hamill buff, so I just anything Mark Hamill's attached to, I'm usually just like, I'm for it. I'm there, you know?
It's fair.
I just that's Luke Skywalker. That's my
Mhm.
goat. Um, but no, you're right. It's all the old men are just kind of terrible because they're like, we must conserve our boomer ways, and then it's like, y'all are literally creating your own problems.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like they are the source of a lot of the issues because I don't know. I feel like, granted, is Jens Sid supposed to know that Xehanort was going to take over the Mark of Mastery exams? Can't really blame him for that. But then at the same time, it's like, if going into the Sleeping Worlds was that dangerous, then it's like maybe we should have just did what Aqua and Terra did and just fight a bunch of balls
Yeah,
and
remember
call it
when
a
things
day.
were simple and clean and all you had to do is just fight fucking orbs of light? Isn't
Yeah,
that crazy?
right, right.
Instead of, hey, let's go through the sleeping worlds and reawaken them and you have to fight dream eaters and shit. It's like, oh, okay.
I will say though, Dream Drop does have the best selection of worlds. Just for the sheer fact of the most bargain bin worlds that they picked. Obviously, Hunchback got selected, which favorite top three movies. So
Yeah, that's my
obviously
favorite
that's
Disney
great.
film.
Yeah, but then the fact that we got just like the weirdest selection, like Tron Legacy, out of fucking nowhere, they threw Tron Legacy with Fantasia and the well, I guess Pinocchio comes back, but we get like the actual Pinocchio world and not just Monstro. Um, they could have done so many more obscure worlds. Like they could have threw in like Atlantis, the Black Cauldron, Treasure Planet. Like that would have been
I
a
can't.
great fit for those for that game.
Dude, the fact we don't have Treasure Planet still just makes me so sad because I love that movie.
Hmm.
But
And
no,
they've
when
multiple
Kelly plays
times they've tried.
DDD and she has to go back into Monstro, I'm gonna laugh. She's back in the fucking whale.
Can
She's
never
back in the fucking whale again. She can't escape the whale. It's so
never
funny.
escape. But yeah, no, it's yeah,
Like I
it's
understand that they were saving like the big Disney films for, because like a lot of the
mhm.
Disney worlds from DDD are either reused or like direct to DVD films, and I get that they were saving a lot of their like A-list films for Kingdom Hearts 3, but also why am I in Monstro again
Yeah.
when I
I
could
think
be on a pirate ship in space?
that's just more so giving relevancy to Riku's past because that's also when you see Dark Riku for the first time.
I
Um,
mean, I guess, but fuck, I hate playing Monstro.
yeah, no, and that boss at the end of that is also pretty butts.
Ass,
Crab
horrible.
brawler, I think is what his name is. Yeah,
Sure, something like that. I can't care.
yeah. No, he
It's
was
not
not
good.
fun. Yeah,
No.
I yeah. Honestly, I don't. I feel like most of the I think maybe War Goyle was okay, like visually. Eh, I don't know. It's like hard because I don't think there's a single boss that I could say I liked. I think most of them were just either like okay or fucking butts.
Tron was great, guys.
Yeah, everyone loves
We
Tron.
love Tron. The Tron world is so fun. Just play it. Go play it. It's so fun. You're gonna have a great time. We
uh,
promise.
but also big shout out for including the World Ends with You characters. That was pretty dope.
Okay, I will say, I did like that they acknowledged that that series exists because Square Enix kind of stopped giving a shit about them for a long
Hmm.
time. So I see The World Ends With You and I'm like, oh my god, amazing.
Did you see the most recent news about the World Ends with You?
No.
So there's this game that's coming out. I think it's called Reynatis. It looks just like a Kingdom Hearts clone, and it takes place in Shibuya. And then
Mm.
on April Fools, they did Nomura did like a I don't know if it was Nomura, but someone did like a they mimicked Nomura's style and they drew the characters from Reynatis in the same style as The World Ends with You Neo, and they put them together
Mm.
as like an April Fool's Day prank. And then a few weeks ago, they just dropped a trailer where there's a crossover with Reynatis and Neo, The
Oh,
World
that's
Ends with
so
You,
cool.
and then
That's so
like
cool.
Rindo and Shoka are in there, and apparently, I guess Reynatis has its own version of Shoka, but it's like a white hood cat girl, and
Yeah,
so now it's like, wait, is this game just been secretly a
in
prequel
development,
or
and we
well?
didn't know.
So it's not a Square Enix game. Is the thing that gets me is that it's not Square Enix, but they're going to partner with Square Enix for this. Like, I don't know if it's DLC or whatnot, but if you're looking for some more World Ends with You content, gotta check out Reynatis. But it looks fun. It
Okay,
looks like a fun game.
noted,
I would honestly pick it up,
noted.
especially more so that the World Ends with You characters are in it. Even though this might be a hot take, I don't think the sequel was as good as the first one, and I think it's only because the character and the story in the first one was just so fucking good. Like I think it was so hard to beat, so hard to
Well,
top,
it's
and they
it's like
tried
The
their
World
best,
Ends With
but
You, especially the first one, is just such a unique game experience that like you
mhm.
can't get anywhere else. Characters are good, story is good, gameplay is interesting.
The
It's
music.
so un dude,
I
so good.
top
So good. It's
top
such
three
a
soundtracks in a video game for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. It's such a unique game experience that like you can't get anywhere else really, I feel. Like
Hmm.
I love the World Ends With You games just because it's like there's nothing like them, you know?
Exactly.
It's just like there's nothing like them. And I love a game like that that like I can look at and be like I if you were to ask me to draw a comparison to another game, I'd be like, I don't know. Like it's just such a
Hmm.
unique experience. And I think
But
that's a good thing.
yeah, I feel like that we don't get that a lot anymore.
Mm-mm.
Before it was
No.
like that era of like DS, PS2 games. They're just dropping shit, just like yeah, whatever. We'll just throw it. Now it's like everything kind of feels the same, and it's
Yeah,
just very
now it's just
like,
like, okay, well this game plays exactly like these 8 other games that I've played,
yeah, yeah.
you know?
But my only thing with Neo though, have you beaten Neo?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
No.
well, I'll refrain from saying too much about it in case you do plan to play it. But it's just the main characters is really what got me. Is that they're not as likable as the original main cast.
See, I've heard that.
Yeah, and
I've heard that. I think that's what's been my like stopper from playing Neo because I
mhm,
love the original cast of World Ends With You. So, and I've heard people be like, Neo's okay. And I'm like, well, that's not good.
yeah. I
That's
mean, like
that's not good.
it's just one of those things where also just like the way they go about playing the Reaper game is I just there's just certain things about it where I'm like this feels very half-assed, but I think it's just because the original game is at such like a high standard
Oh
that like
yeah.
you said it's so hard to be like we're going to make a sequel and then make it better than this in the
It's
original.
such an anomaly of a video game
Yeah.
because there's nothing like it, but like it has its wanderlust the first time,
Mhm.
right? And then you play Neo and it's just like, yeah, I could be playing this or I could just be playing the original World Ends With You.
Right. Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like,
But yeah, it definitely scratches that itch if you're looking to get back into it to another game that's similar. But
mm-hmm.
obviously, it's like you're never gonna get that same lightning in a bottle with that first game. Like you could try, but I don't know. It would
You can
be
always go
I
listen to
would
the
be
soundtrack though.
yeah, 100%. If
Good ass soundtrack.
dude, just
So good.
like I'd still give it to Final Fantasy X having the best soundtrack out of any video
Mm-hmm.
game. But The World Ends With You is definitely fucking up there,
What is my
100%.
favorite video game soundtrack? Probably, honestly, Fire Emblem Three Houses soundtrack is really good.
Oh yeah.
Forward to Dawn or Edge of Tomorrow.
I
Forget
haven't
the specific.
I haven't
Let me look
played any
this up.
Fire Emblem games, so I have no point of reference. But I kind of want to try, but at the same time, I don't know if it's my cup of tea because I've never been a big fan of strategy games. But I'd be willing to give it a shot if
I
there's one
mean,
that's like the, because like most of my library of games, it's like
Edge of Dawn.
JRPGs.
Edge of Dawn. That's the song I'm thinking of.
Mm.
Song is so fucking good.
Yeah, it give me like a fire whatever Fire Emblem is close enough to JRPGs or has most like notable JRPG elements, and I'll give that one a shot.
I mean, all like when you say JRPG elements, like what do you mean?
I guess because I guess more so action adventure, but I know Fire Emblem's not action adventure because it's a
Yeah,
strategy
that's
based game.
not.
So I
Yeah,
guess
that's
for the
not.
most part, if they all play the same, then I guess it doesn't really make a difference which one I would play.
I would
Um,
say.
I
I
guess
would say
whichever
Three
one's
Houses is.
the first
mm,
the user friendly, the most user friendly game for like somebody first getting into it.
Probably Fire Emblem Engage or Three Houses. In terms of just like recent Fire Emblem games, if you want a really good story, play Three Houses.
Hmm.
If you just want a like, this is gonna sound mean, but it's not meant to be. It's just kind of the way the game plays.
Hmm.
Baby's first Fire Emblem game, Fire Emblem Engage, because the engage function makes that game fucking broken. Um,
Okay.
because the engage, so Fire Emblem Engage, engaging is a brand new combat mechanic they added to that game, and it breaks it. It breaks the game. Like if you understand how Fire Emblem works, it's like you can play through the game totally fine, having never played a Fire Emblem game before, and been like, okay, I understand how this game works. The
Hmm.
second you understand how Fire Emblem works, it's broken. The game's broken because you're like, oh, I'm just gonna combine this engage ring on this character, and it just becomes the easiest game in the world. So it's like, and this is someone that I love Fire Emblem. I played a lot of Fire Emblem in my
Hmm.
days, and I think Engage is basically baby's first Fire Emblem game because story is not great, but the gameplay really fun, but like very easy to break. Um, I think that like a very good starting point if you want like just more traditional Fire Emblem, probably Three Houses is your best bet.
Hmm.
Um, Three Houses is one of my favorite video games. It's like a solid like 9.5 out of 10 for me. I love Three Houses. I like that there's 4 different storylines. Think Fire Emblem Three Houses is basically the birth by sleep of Fire Emblem games.
Mm,
There's 3 different
okay.
storylines. There's 4 storylines technically. There's 4 storylines, and there is a certain order you should play them in, but it's not like playing them out of order will diminish your experience.
Mhm.
But it's kind of like Birth by Sleep. It's like, yeah, you can play as Aqua first. I mean, you can, but you won't get the same like the story won't be as fulfilling if you do that versus if you play in the correct proper order, right?
Yeah,
Kind
yeah.
of that type deal. I think Three Houses is a very like if you are genuinely interested in picking up Fire Emblem, I think Three Houses or Engage are both like good options for first Fire Emblem games.
Yeah, no, I for sure, especially since those are the newer ones, I would feel like those are probably going to be like my best bet.
Plus, I mean, if you
Especially,
wanted someone to coach you in Fire Emblem, I got you, dog.
hell yeah, hell
If
yeah,
you want to just be like, Mystic, break this game for me. I can teach you how to break it
hell yeah,
easy.
yeah,
Because it's really funny, especially like if you're playing the Golden Deer route, the character that's based all around archery, not the best sniper in the game. Give a magic staff to this character to give him +2 range, they become the best sniper in the game. They one-shot everybody. It's really funny.
huh, interesting. Yeah,
But
I
no,
feel like that's its
Fire
own
Emblem's good.
can of worms at that point where I'm like, I don't know. It's like one of those things. Like once I try it, I'll have my opinions on it, and then
hmm
we'll have to go from there.
But I totally understand that the gameplay doesn't
Mhm.
appeal to everyone, especially if you're someone who's used to playing more traditional RPGs and like the free-form flow of combat. I totally
Yeah,
get it. Fire Emblem is definitely not for everyone,
yeah. Like
and
my
I don't
my
think
go.
I think that's okay.
Yeah, beyond like Kingdom Hearts, like my go-tos are always like Zelda, Pokemon,
Yeah,
Final Fantasy. But the thing is, I haven't really been liking the newer Zeldas. They're so different from like previous Zelda. But yeah, most of it's just like action RPGs.
yeah.
Anything that's like quick that I can just kind of like get in and just
Drop in, drop out, just kind
yeah,
of
yeah. But then there's some
yeah.
aspects like Pokemon has like strategic aspects to it, which I don't mind.
hmm
And then some Final Fantasies, like I like Final Fantasy 10, and that's all turn based. So I don't have an issue with turn based. It just has to have like a good balance. Like I think the only turn based game I did not care for was like Tales, the Tales of series. I played Tales of Grace's F, and it has like such a weird combat where you have to attack and then you have to wait for your attack bar to charge. And so a lot of it is
Yeah.
just like you're standing around, which felt very like awkward. Final Fantasy 13 also has that too, but they kind of made it work
Mm.
better in my opinion. But yeah, in Final Fantasy or Tales of Grace's F. Also, ironically enough, 13 Lightning Returns 13 or 3, however they pronounce the title, also has this similar combat where you attack and you have to wait around. Um,
Yeah.
I've never found that appealing, so I would not be all for that kind of game, and that's like an action
hmm
adventure game I wouldn't be for. Um, RTSs in general, I've tried to play Age of Mythology, could never really get into it. So
Yeah.
it has to be that good balance of like action and strategy. But
I
yeah,
think Fire Emblem is a
mhm,
game that is as strategic as you make it.
mhm,
Like you is some semblance of strategy required? Sure. But I think it's a game that is as strategic as you make it. I think if you just want to brute force your way through the game, you can.
mhm,
Because a lot of it comes down to, or like, it would come down to be like, okay, if you don't want to use strategy, are you willing to spend the time to just level grind your characters, And if the answer is yeah, okay, then that's fine. You know, it's like, okay, let me do this story mission that's recommended level is 7 with my level 15 characters and just fucking
mhm.
annihilate everything. It's just like, I think it's a game that's as strategic as you make it, but some people would probably disagree with me on that, and I think that's fine. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's really
It's
one of
not,
those things that when I
it's
play it,
actually
I'll
it's pretty
have.
comparable to Kingdom Hearts in terms of Kingdom Hearts is a game where yeah, you can just hit X to win, but it's also like there's a lot of depth to its combat mechanics. Like you can just hit X to win, or you can try out a bunch of different stuff to make the
Mm.
combat really like in depth and mechanical.
You know,
Like if you wanted to.
I'll definitely have to, like I said, the more I hear about it, the more I'm like, I want to give it a shot. It's the same ballpark with like Persona. Like I know I'm gonna love Persona when I play it, and I would honestly, for someone who's never even played Persona,
Mm,
I would probably say that it is. I hate to say this because I don't want to hype myself up and then end up playing it and not enjoying it, but I can't see myself not enjoying Persona.
you
I
know how I
know,
feel about
I know
Persona.
you're a big Persona fan. Yeah,
Love me some Persona.
I have
Love Persona.
I have Persona 5 in my possession. I have not touched it. I want to play it. It's just one
So
of those
good.
things that I just need the time. And
I can break the
that's
game for you.
oh,
I can I
can you
can
just
break the
break
game for
any
you.
game at this point?
Persona. No,
Yeah.
you don't understand. I have like 1,000 hours in Persona 5. Between Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal, I have like 1,000 hours in those games. Okay? My
Mhm.
current like clocked in fastest run of Persona 5 Royal with the extra dungeon included is 59 hours. That game is on average 80 to 90.
Damn.
Is like if you know what you're doing, you can break the game. Because if you know exactly which personas to build, exactly how to build them, and what team members have the best like social link or confidant abilities,
Uh-huh.
it's wraps. Because it immediately cuts grinding time down to like a tenth of what it should be. And so
Mm.
that way when you're actually going into palaces and doing stuff, it's free. It's easy.
Yeah, for me, honestly, the biggest thing is just like I want to devote so much time to it. Like I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
half-ass it. So I'm waiting for just a good gap of time to where I could just sit down and just like it kind of goes back a little bit to what me and Kelly were talking about in the last episode where we're just like we can't wait till we can like do content creation as like a full-time gig because then
Yeah.
at that point it's like for me especially in like my side of things like I had that mindset where I can like allocate my time and then get
Mm-hmm.
like all the video stuff done for like this month and like the next month and then I could just like have that free time for just like being able to play a game for like a few days before I have to go
Yeah.
back to like working on stuff. Whereas now it's just like balancing social life, work, editing. It's just like I barely have any time, and it's like I made this choice. Like I willingly made this choice because I know
Yeah.
that down the road, hopefully, um, it'll
You can
allow
make
me to
this like
have
your
more free
full-time thing.
yeah, and have more
Yeah.
free time. That's honestly like the biggest thing is having the free time that I've um never really could have much anymore
Yeah.
because when you work
Yeah.
so many hours, granted not to say that video editing is like an easy sort of job. It takes up a lot of time, but it's I don't know. It's just one of those things that I hope it works out and I'm just going to keep
Look, man, I get it. I
persevering.
would love nothing more than to get
Mhm.
back into creating my own content, but like I work two jobs. Like
Exactly. Yeah, yeah,
it's
that's
just
so
like I
rough.
would love nothing more than to get back into content creation, but I just
Mhm.
simply don't have the time for it.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. You know, you got to allocate your time wisely. And, I'd say for the most part, you still get that, like, you still scratch that itch because you get to show up in everybody else's videos. So it's
I
like,
am I am I am the source of other people's content and I get to just hang out and play games. It's great.
I will say, though, kind of going back to what we were talking about with breaking games and mechanics, but for Kingdom Hearts, though, have you
Mhm.
broken any Kingdom Hearts titles? Could you have the
I mean,
same level of energy to any of those games?
I mean if you count making a magic build when KH3 drops and you realize that magic's fucking broken. If you count that,
Hmm.
because I played KH3 when it dropped, obviously, and I was like, damn, if I just put everything into Magic, everything just kind of dies to Thundaga. Everything just kind of fucking dies. It's crazy. Um, no, I haven't, and I'll tell
Hmm.
you why.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Kingdom Hearts game is not a game I feel like I need to min max. Cause it's not a game where I'm like, this is gonna be some incredibly huge time investment, and I want to make it as you know efficient as possible. So
Uh
I'm
huh.
not because like I've said this already. I'm someone who my biggest thing is my time being wasted. That's why I learned how to break games and min max them. Because if there's a faster, efficient way to do something, I'm gonna try to find it. Right?
Hmm.
Um, Although I don't like speed running. I don't like speed running because I think that that's not fun. I'm like, okay, that's when you get to like legit speed running, like that's when you're not actually playing the game. You're just like
Yeah, you're pretty much just playing it to beat it, less so than playing it to enjoy
less to
it.
enjoy it. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
at least when I like min-max Persona, I'm having a good time. I'm playing it and having fun, right?
Hmm.
Um, because like that's my thing. I love min-maxing just and finding the most efficient ways to do things for the sheer fact of I'm saving my time. Kingdom Hearts, I don't have that feeling though. And I think it's just because it's such a special thing to me that I'm like, I want to just take the time to enjoy this. I don't want to have to
Right.
feel like I need to just be super efficient and break it and be like, what's the fastest way I can get this done? Or like, what would be the best way to do this? It's like, I just want to enjoy the whole experience of the game. You
Hmm.
know, it's like, I truly just love taking my time with it.
Would you say that you have like a specific mechanic from like any of the games that you enjoy the most or have enjoyed the
Kingdom Hearts
most?
2. Kingdom Hearts 2. If you want to level up your drive forms in a phenomenally easy way, here's a tip. And I know that this is not like a secret, but I have talked to people that didn't know that this was the case. So, sometimes the most annoying part about grinding drive form levels is refilling the drive gauge after it runs out, right?
Hmm.
Because you gain experience and do it. You gain the experience for a drive form while you're in the drive form, correct?
Right.
Yeah. So a lot of the time, the most annoying part is, oh, my drive gauge is empty. I gotta figure out how to refill it. When you are doing drive form level grinding, if you leave the world while in a drive form and then go back into the world, your drive gauge will automatically be refilled.
Oh.
If you leave the world while still in drive form and then you get back into the world, your drive form gauge will be automatically refilled. I don't
Huh.
know if that's a bug or if that was an intentional mechanic, but that's how I do it. I always do my grinding near a save point. So that way, when I get as much done as I can, and then right before my drive gauge is about to run out, I run back to the save, go to the world map, and then go back into the world, and my drive gauge is automatically refilled.
I mean, I guess in that point, they can't really say that you used up all of your drive gauge.
Nope.
So then at that point, it's like, oh, well, you might as well just like put you back to like it's kind of like when you like you're working on a file and then you like delete half of it and then you just close
Mhm.
out of the file and go back to it and then it restores everything because it was going off the last save. So
Yep.
it kind of feels like when you leave the world, come back, it's like, well, technically you didn't save or
Yep.
like you didn't end, make it
He
finalized.
didn't use
Yeah.
his drive form completely in that world. Yeah.
Huh.
So that is the best advice I can give in terms of doing like min-maxing something in a Kingdom Hearts game in terms of mechanically. Drive form grinding is so easy
Hmm.
if you are doing it near save points because you never have to worry about refilling your drive gauge because it'll automatically refill if you just leave the world and go back in. Takes like 8 seconds to do that and it's so
Right.
worth it, right? If you want to level up limit form in a quick and efficient manner, go to Agrabah. Go to where the giant mushroom is that falls asleep. You're not going to kill it. Doesn't matter. Spam Sonic Rave on that mushroom as much as you can before your drive form runs out. Leave the world. Come back. You will reach max level on limit form so fast.
Hmm.
It's great. That's how I do it every time.
Yeah, I think in KH2, I did grind. As much as I dislike grinding, it wasn't actually too bad. The mysterious tower trick. I don't know if you're
Mhm.
aware of it. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I was doing that, and I think I
Was
was that with missing or not missing link, the lingering will. Lingering
yeah.
will. I needed additional like levels to go against him. So
Uh-huh.
I think I just did like a I don't know if I assumed I did everything to level up higher, but I know my like base level I leveled it up to like 99 from that alone. But yeah, that but yeah, no, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Kingdom Hearts 2 definitely has, I would say, the most fluid and fun combat. Um
I would agree.
I would say like my favorite mechanic though would definitely be like flow motion. I really like flow motion.
I will say they cooked with flow motion. Flow motion
Yeah.
is very good. I like it a lot. I think it's very fun. I like that they made the world so much more easily traversable with it.
Mhm. You could very much break the game with that because you could just go anywhere.
Yeah, and it's like especially like in DDD, bro. Like in Kingdom Hearts 3 they kind of toned down
Yeah, it
like
got
how
nerfed.
how much you could exploit flow motion, but in like DDD, you want to reach the fucking skybox, just keep dashing into wall, jump, dash into wall,
Right.
jump, dash into wall, jump. It's so easy. No, flow motion was a very good like quality of life mechanic they added because before you would ever get glide, getting around was just a nightmare.
Yeah, and you never get glided toward like the end of the game too.
Yeah, you never get it until the very end of the game usually.
Mhm.
It's like Cage 1, you don't get it until Neverland, which Neverland's not the last world, but it's next to last, right? Because it's like Neverland and then
It
Halloween Town?
it's the last Disney World, yeah. It's
Hmm.
always been like what was it? Because they do it in Birth by Sleep as well. I think it's the last world.
Oh, extra mechanic. Now that you mentioned Birth by Sleep and we're talking about Neverland. Stop magic works on Peter Pan. So
Oh,
if you are playing as Terra and you have to fight Peter Pan and he's flying around and you're slow, stop magic works on Peter Pan.
hmm.
That's how I get through that fight every time. I just stack my command deck with stop magic and then just beat his face in. It's great because you just watch his health bar go from
Mhm.
full to zero instantaneously. It's so funny.
There's always so many like little things because there's you never know what's gonna work on any like fight because I what was it Barbosa in Kingdom Hearts 2. Somebody told me that you could cast Blizzard and freeze him, and I didn't know that.
Really? I didn't know that
Yeah,
either.
apparently he's really tough on level 1 crit because
I can imagine.
you and Jack share a health bar. So if
Yeah,
Jack gets hit, then the fight's over, and obviously level 1, one hit, you're done.
yeah,
So the trick to beat him is to use Blizzard, but I don't really use magic a lot, so it never occurred to me to just freeze him in place. But it's like, oh,
yeah.
well, if I ever
I didn't know that.
decide to go back and play it, it's like that's something I'm gonna make sure to remember.
Yeah, if you ever play Birth by Sleep again and you're playing Terra and you're like,
Yeah.
God, Terra is slow. How am I gonna
Yeah.
hit this dude who's flying around? Stop magic works on Peter Pan. Great. It is save you so much trouble. The second he
No,
starts to try to like fly down to swoop into you, freeze him, beat his face in.
definitely noted. Definitely noted. But on the topic of Disney Worlds, though,
Mm-hmm.
what would you say uh, if you had to pick for a new Disney World? What are you aiming for?
Mm.
Like, what's a Disney World you
Oh.
want to see that we haven't seen yet?
I mean,
Or
I feel like Treasure Planet is just the easy answer.
mm,
But what would be like really fun? Man. Um
Chicken Little?
um
It's
okay, this is complete bias and it's not a film, but it's a show. Dude, Owl House World with Sora doing like just goofing around with like Luz would be so fun.
a. I
The
mean,
silly just they'd be silly little goobers.
we what was it? Cause didn't isn't DuckTales a TV show? It was a TV show first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we got Scrooge in Birth by Sleep. Well, Ace in Cage too as well. So we got
Yeah,
one
but there
TV
is the
show.
Disney like Ebenezer Scrooge like Christmas Carol film.
Uh,
So it's like
yeah, it's kind of a gray
it's just
area.
yeah, it's this weird thing. But no, I think an Owl House World would be fun, but film oh man. That's hard. Treasure Planet's the easy answer. Goofy movie. Goofy movie would be so fun.
Oh,
Goofy movie would go crazy hard.
that would
Or
be so
Emperor's New
cool.
Groove.
Yeah, that was Dax's pick.
Yeah,
Is
Emperor's New Groove would be really fun. Yeah, because that's his favorite Disney movie.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Emperor's New Groove would be really fun. Treasure Planet would be fun. Goofy Movie would be very fun. Those would probably be like my three that I can think of,
Hmm.
just
Yeah.
like off the rip.
Mine is Aristocats, just because I want to see cat versions of everybody.
Aristocats or Oliver and Company.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
I
could
just
rock with that.
I just want to see like an orange tabby Axel cat.
Plus, I I don't really know if there's like a lot of debate about whether or not it was good or fun. I love the Lion King world. I think Lion King is so fun.
Yeah, I would love to go back to Lion
Dude,
King.
it's the way, dude, I don't know how they programmed like Lion Sora to feel so smooth in combat, but like it feels good.
Hmm.
Like I loved the Lion King world, like a lot.
Yeah, no, honestly, like the fact that one, I love the Lion King, two, I
Mhm.
love Lion Sora, and three, the fact that you're just like skating around the entire world and just slipping and sliding, and I'm just like everything about that was just like perfection. And
It's so good.
honestly, if there was like if we didn't get another Hercules world, but we just kept going back to the Pride Lands, I would not be upset.
Dude, if I have to go back to Olympus one more time, I might just cry. I'm so tired of Olympus. So tired of Olympus. No hate to Hercules, no hate to the movie. I am tired of
Yeah.
Olympus. We've played it in like almost every fucking game. I'm
Yeah.
bored of playing Olympus. I'm
It's
bored of it.
I think the only games it's not shown up in was Dream Drop and I guess technically back cover, but back cover is Union Cross and we've been to it in Union Cross. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, we've been into it like almost every game.
I think the only game it does not make an appearance in is um DDD,
Yeah. Which is
which
crazy
is
because it's like you didn't really even
insane.
think about
Which is
it.
insane.
Hmm. They
It's like
definitely could have
who
added it
loves
in there
Olympus?
somehow.
Like who really is a like such an Olympus fan? They're like I need it in every game. Not
Hmm.
me. Not anyone I know.
Well, if they had continued the trend of adding a new Final Fantasy character with every time that world appeared, then it's like, okay, yeah, that would have been cool. But they pretty much were like, we're gonna put Zack in Birth by Sleep and then nobody else. And then
Me and
it's
Zach got
like
beef. He was flirting with Aqua. Should have been me.
but
Should have been me for real.
yeah, we got Cloud, we got Zack, and we got Orin, and then they're like, no more. And then we're
No more.
like,
That's all you get.
big sad. No
Yeah.
Noctis, no Lightning. Mm,
Dude, a Yozora Noctis crossover would go crazy.
hell yeah.
That
I
would be a
mean,
fight. That would be a fight and a half.
unless there's like a reality where, because like in the Toy Story world, like Verum Rex is a video game.
Yeah.
So like, what if there's just like a video game reality that's what Sora's inside of, kind of like a Wreck It Ralph type vibe, where Wreck It Ralph went to different video
Mm-hmm.
games, and then
I
they
mean, I'd
and
be
then
fine with that. I think that could be interesting. There's like, because that opens the potential for a lot.
yeah, but then it's like Yuzora goes to like Final Fantasy 15 verse, and then goes against Noctis and make it
I could,
happen.
dude, I'd fuck with that. I'd fuck with that. Because I feel like I'm one of the few people on Earth that likes 15. I don't know. Like, I thought Final Fantasy 15 was good, but apparently if you say that on Twitter, people get angry at you.
See, I feel like that was I've always had the well, okay, so I'm in the opposite camp. I do not care much for 15, but that's mostly because I feel like the DLC that was added in was
That's fair.
very or not even necessarily that the DLC was added in, but the way they cut up the story to eventually sell it off as
To
DLC,
make
I
it,
was not a
yeah.
fan. Yeah, and
That
then
that is fair.
yeah.
That is fair. But that's like, I'm not gonna fault a game for a company being scummy.
Yeah, no, I get
I'm
that.
not gonna fault the game that was made for the
Mhm.
company being shitty.
Now, here's my thing though, is I despise Gladio as a character. And
I
the
agree.
main
I don't like
main
Gladio either.
yeah, the big reason was the him yelling at Noctis after a certain big event happened and Noctis was right to be sad and he was just like shut the fuck up. Stop
Get
being
over it,
sad.
pussy.
Yeah,
It's
and I'm
like,
just like, I don't like you anymore. And
yeah,
then
Gladio is very much so made for the characters with daddy issues.
I feel like
And I don't care if I get hate for that. I'm right.
he's just eye candy. But Ignis
He
though,
is. He's just meant
Ig
to be the himbo. That's all he
yeah,
is. The angry himbo.
Ignis though, best
Ignis is
character.
fire. I love Ignis.
Mm.
I like Prompto a lot. I'm a really big Prompto fan.
The only thing I have an issue with Prompto is it goes back to the DLC thing where it's like there's that moment where you have to go rescue him, and then he reveals like that big secret that he has, and then they don't really talk about it, and then you find out later that it gets discussed more in the DLC.
Mm.
I think there's also aspects of like there's an anime that also goes over a lot of Prompto's
Yeah,
character.
Brotherhood. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it's one of those things that like I have no right to complain because Kingdom Hearts has 12 games in a movie, and if I'm going to
All on
sit
different
here,
systems, all on fucking
yeah. And
whatever.
I is it right for me to be like, "Oh, I don't like 15 because it has an anime and it has a short film and it has like 8 DLC, but like
Yeah.
half of the DLC got canceled." And it's just one of
Yeah.
those things where it's like with Kingdom Hearts, I guess I expect it. I don't expect it as much with a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah.
Um
That's fair.
so
Like I said though, it just goes back for me. It's just like I'm not gonna fault a game for a company being scummy. You know, it's like the game was just made by a company that has shitty business practices. That's not necessarily the game's fault.
yeah.
But no, I agree. I love 15, but the way it was handled was terrible. I
Yeah,
agree.
I would not be against if they
If
were
they
to
made like a
ever remake.
remaster and put
Yeah.
all the DLC into one game, it would be great.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I
It'd be
agree with
phenomenal.
that. I think for the most part I enjoyed the game. There's just that one part in the middle where once you get on that boat and go to like the next or that big island, it kind of
Yeah.
feels like the rest of the game kind of fast tracks to towards
Mm.
the end. So I wasn't too much of a fan of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, but then
It's fair.
also I'm also the same person who's just not a big fan of Seven. For the sole reason of I didn't feel like the story was that great. I didn't feel like the characters were that great. There were a lot of good characters, don't get me wrong. Um, but there's something about it that just did not click with me. And I don't know
That's
if it's
fair.
because I didn't play 7 until like years later because I was like
Mm.
2011, 2012 and I played it on
Mm-hmm.
my PSP. So I'm like part of me feels like after
Too
playing
little, too
like
late.
right, you played Final Fantasy 10, you played Final Fantasy 13, and then you go back to 7, and you're kind of just
Yeah.
like, I'm not really like connecting with it. And then I was like, oh, well, I'll just play the remake when the remake comes out. And now the remake's taking forever to fully complete. And the games itself, like each part is its own like 60 hour, I think 60
Yeah.
hour. Yeah. And so
About.
then now I'm just like, well, damn, now it's not going to be a simple like sit down and play the games. It's going to be like I have to dedicate like a month to sit down
Yeah,
and
you're
play
like,
each
this is
part.
a time investment now.
Yeah, and so it's like
Yeah.
I want to play 7 remake because I want to give it a fair chance, but then I'm just like, bro, where am I gonna get the time? Like that's the one thing I don't got. I don't got that much time.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. You know how I feel about 7. Um,
Yeah.
you know, I'm a diehard Final Fantasy
Hmm.
7 fan. But I totally get where you're coming from. Like it is it is a pain how they are deciding to handle
Hmm.
the remakes. It's a pain. Um,
It's
like
very money
I was
hungry for sure.
oh yeah, and I was talking to Kelly about this the other day actually, pretty recently. The way they handled Crisis Core makes me so angry. The way they handle Crisis Core makes me so angry. It just it
Was it?
plays terribly. It
Oh,
plays
does it?
terribly. Well, it's just like it doesn't feel like they changed anything from when it was on the PSP, bro. It's just like
So
his ass.
did they?
Like
So because I don't really know much about the remake. So was that like DLC or was that its own
no,
separate
it's its own
game?
game. It's its own game.
So is it a port or is it like a full remake like the rest of the games are?
It's a full remake, quote unquote. It's a remaster, not a remake.
Okay.
The others are remakes. It's just a remaster where it's like they just put it in the new engine, but like it still plays like OG Crisis Core, and I'm just
Mm.
like I don't. I don't fuck with it at all. Um, I love Zack Fair. I love the story of Crisis Core, but I do not fuck with the gameplay at all.
Yeah,
Because
that's fair.
I don't like that the entire game really takes place inside of a soldier command room, and you just progress by completing the missions in a list. It's just
Huh.
like, this feels kind of ass. Like, I put a lot of time into Crisis Core, and I was just like, I'm bored. I'm like, you've done nothing but give me a to-do list and expect me to just sit here and just click through your menu 1,000 times getting through the missions. I was like, I'm bored, you know.
So here's my
But
thing
it
though.
is its own game. It is its own game.
What's your
God, for who knows why.
what's your what's your opinion on Dirge's Cerberus though?
Oh, who?
Dirge's Cerberus, the Vincent game?
I don't know if I played it.
Oh, you haven't? Yeah, it was on the PS2. Everyone hated it, but I fucking loved it. But that's probably because I'm biased. Because out of all the Final Fantasy VII characters, Vincent was my favorite.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't love Vincent Valentine? Come
Yeah,
on now. It's Vincent. Let's
hell
go.
yeah.
No,
But
I don't think I ever played that. To be honest with you.
yeah, it's one of those games that not too many people cared much for. I don't know if that would ever see the light of day again, but I'm assuming with 7 doing all the things with 7 that maybe it could be DLC. But then again, I don't know. Isn't Vincent a part of the main story now? Like he's
Yeah.
not just a side character anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, the events of the story take place after the events of 7, so I don't know, maybe it could be something they release like um the same aspect as Crisis Core.
I
But
mean, whatever's gonna make Square Enix money.
yeah, which they're definitely that's the thing, is like I definitely feel like post 15 it's been such a big money ploy. And you could even say like to some degree Kingdom Hearts 3 was in the same boat. Because I imagine Disney probably were rubbing their hands together along with like the Square Enix executives, and they're like, we're gonna make so much money and try to get their grubby little fingers into everything so they can make the most profit. Because you know damn well that the Frozen world was not going to be the way that it was supposed to be. That shit was
No.
supposed to be something completely different. Elsa was supposed to be the villain, and then Disney's like, that's not going to make us money. Make
Yeah.
it make Elsa not evil, and then Square Enix is like, I agree, Daddy Disney.
Yes,
we're
please.
gonna
Yes, please let us keep using your
yeah.
characters. Whatever you
But
say. Just let us keep using your characters. We're begging.
but then it's like at that point it's like, all right, we'll just cut out the Frozen world, and they're like, no, keep the
No,
Frozen world.
you need to do it because we have another Frozen movie coming out that we need to market
Exactly,
for.
exactly. This is
Yeah. Good
another thing
old
is
Disney. Woo! Love
right.
Disney.
And so I don't know.
Yay.
Square Enix, Disney, it's a whole tumultuous
We
relationship.
love multinational, multimedia conglomerates. They're so great.
But hey, if it wasn't if it wasn't Disney that Square Enix partnered up, who would you want to see Square Enix partner up with?
Sega.
Sega.
Sega, dude.
Ah,
Let me see Sonic and Sora kicking ass.
hell yeah.
Let me
I
see.
mean,
Let me just see that.
there's a lot of Sega properties. They could for sure make that work. Yo, Hatsune Miku? Hatsune Miku World. Hell yeah.
Let's go, dude. I'm there. I'm there.
It's
I'm
Melody
so
of
there.
Memories. Melody of Memories, but Hatsune
As
Miku.
performed by Hatsune Miku. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm there. No, I would buy it in a heartbeat. Are you kidding me? Um, no. Aside from Disney, I realistically, like, actual answer, I don't know who I would want to see them partner up with aside from
Hmm.
Disney, because it's like Disney is so integral into Kingdom Hearts now. I can't
Yeah.
imagine it without Disney.
Yeah, it would be some weird like alternate reality where like they partnered up with Nickelodeon or something, and then it probably who
I couldn't
knows if
see
it would
it.
be as good. I feel like it's really like Disney. It's hard. Yeah, it is hard to imagine the story of Kingdom Hearts telling the same story but without those Disney characters because I feel like they go
It's
hand in
nigh
hand.
impossible because Kingdom Hearts 1 whole thing was about gathering the princesses of heart, right? It's like
Hmm.
it, the Disney part has always been so integral. It's like I couldn't see it without Disney.
They just need to get the 7 Chaos Emeralds, and
Yeah,
that's all they
yeah,
need.
yeah. Fucking Xehanort's working with Dr. Robotnik. Yeah,
Yeah. As they
checks
replace
out.
Maleficent with Dr. Robotnik, and then we
Yeah,
get Super Sora.
we get yeah, the Master of Mafters is just fucking Mephiles from
Hmm.
Sonic 06. Yeah, that checks out.
Big the Cat, he's there. That's great.
Big the Cat would be Pete. Big the
Yeah.
Cat would be Pete. For sure. For sure. Dude, I love Pete. Pete's so fun in those games. I don't care what anyone says. Pete's hilarious.
It,
He makes me giggle.
the fact that of all the characters that we got lion forms for, we got Sora and Pete.
Yep,
they
we got Pete.
they could have
So strange. Such
they
a strange decision that they made there, but
yeah.
I'm here for it.
And like literally like there's other worlds where I mean I guess in that instance you have to make him look like the other inhabitants or else he would just stick out too much. But then I think back to like Kingdom Hearts 3 Toy Box where
Yeah.
young Xehanort just like showed up and he's like the size of a toy but does not look like a toy, and
Mm.
he's like I'm not following the rules unless we're talking about height, because realistically he could have just been normal human height and just kick everybody as
Hear
toys,
me out.
but
My head canon, that's just how short young Xehanort is.
oh yeah, he's like
Yeah.
less than
That's
a
just how
foot.
short he is. He's a short king. Yeah.
True,
He's a
true.
short king.
Yeah, they uh they make him look a lot bigger than he actually is for the rest of the games.
It's just a perspective thing.
Yeah, yeah. He's standing just really close to the camera.
Yeah, yeah. He's in the foreground. They're actually in the background, but it just they edit it to where it looks like they're
Hmm.
looking at each other. Yeah.
True, true.
Yeah. That's clearly what's happening.
Uh let me see. Okay. What is your favorite and least favorite game?
Oh, favorite?
Hmm.
2. Least favorite? Recoded. No,
Okay.
Chain of Memories. Chain of Memories.
Hmm.
Chain of Memories is so shit. That game's so bad.
Yeah, but
It's baffling to me that they tried out that card system and were like, this is good. Like a bunch of people test played it and were like, yes, this is
mm,
fun. Granted, it plays a lot better on the Game Boy. I would give it that. That's like it was made for the Game Boy. It plays a lot better on the Game Boy.
hmm,
However, I should not be having to do fucking math while
yeah,
playing a Kingdom Hearts game and figuring out slights and shit. That's annoying. Um, the most frustrating part about it is just because Chain of Memories has one of my favorite stories. It has one of my favorite stories of any of the Kingdom Hearts
a
games. It's
hundred
just so
percent.
unbearable to play. Recoded, at least is bearable to play, but it's boring.
Yeah, yeah. Recoded definitely is unique in the sense that like when you travel through the different worlds and then you get like the RPG parts and this platformer
Mm-hmm.
parts, those are pretty cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, definitely it's a mix between Recoded having or not Recoded, Chain of Memories having awful combat and then
But
Recoded
like the best
having like
story.
yeah, and having no Recoded having no story beats that's like relevant at all.
Yeah,
Um
because it's just a retelling of like, hey, here's what happened up till now. It's just
mhm.
like, okay, I played the game. I know what happened. You know, I if I wanted to just play through
Mhm.
KH1 again, I would do it.
Did you play Dark Road at all?
Not really. I don't know. I couldn't get into the mobile game shit.
Yeah, well,
Like
to be honest, the combat in Dark Road was god awful because a lot of
I
it was
I
just
heard nothing but bad things about Dark Road, so I
yeah.
was like, I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole.
So I feel like
I like I like it's the same thing with Dark Road and Union that I
yeah.
have Chain of Memories. It's like the gameplay is so shit, but the story is so good.
Hmm. Well, yeah, definitely. I would argue to say that Dark Road's combat is a lot worse than Union Cross because at least Union Cross there was more of like options. I feel like,
Mm.
I mean, Dark Road does have options, but there's just something about Dark Road that I just could not get behind. It was so grindy and not fun
And
at
I
all.
do not think that you were the only person that felt that way.
Yeah, I think honestly, my opinion on Dark Road is the same as your opinion on Chain of Memories, and then my opinion on Melody of Memories, because those are my two least favorite games, is the same as yours on Recoded, because they're
Mm.
both for your Chain of Memories, Dark Road, terrible combat, amazing story. Melody of Memories, Recoded, um, decent combat or gameplay,
Boring.
minimal story. It
Boring.
doesn't really affect anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, which is a
It makes you
shame.
be like, why did I play this? I didn't need
Yeah,
to.
yeah. Melody of Memories was the first Kingdom Hearts game that I was like, why did I play this? The only thing
Yeah.
that I could
Like I
say
walked away
was,
from it being like, that was fun to play once.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The
Like
opening
I wouldn't
though,
play it again.
the opening theme was amazing.
It's
We got
banger.
jazz version of
Yep.
Dearly Beloved.
Yep.
Can't pass
It's a
that up.
banger. It's a banger. Good. Yeah. Favorite Kingdom Hearts game though? KH2.
Hmm.
Um, least favorite Chain of Memories. I hate that game. I hate that game, and I'm not sorry. I know that that game has its fans. I, that's fine. I'm glad someone likes it. It's
Hmm.
not me. It's certainly not me.
No, I mean that's a fair and honest opinion to have. You know, if you don't like it, you don't like it.
And
Um.
I have tried multiple times
Hmm.
to give Chain of Memories a chance and be like, I'm gonna replay it, and I'm gonna be open-minded. I'm gonna give it a chance. And then I get through Traverse Town, the very first world. I'm like, wow, this is so shit. Like I get to Agrabah, and I'm just like, I'm having a terrible fucking time. Like I'm so over this shit. It's horrible. It's so bad.
Mm. Yeah, like I said, for me, definitely Larxene, Vexen. That's the shit that like really grinded my gears.
Marluxia can suck my dick.
You don't like 52 card pickup?
Yeah, yeah, no, it's so fun. I love playing that in a video game where I'm supposed to be having a good time. Yeah, no, it's yeah. Marluxia's great.
Mm,
Can't 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 complain. It might be the most well-designed combat system in any game, honestly.
mm. I was it was interesting that they brought it back in so they brought it back in Kingdom Hearts 3, but to be honest, they kind of brought it back in Birth by Sleep with Mysterious Figure, because Mysterious Figure does the same thing where you can drop your commands
Yep,
and then you have to like pick them up. I would say that in
hate that
Mysterious
shit, bro.
Figure it was terrible. Hold on, I got to sneeze again.
It's okay. I'm right there with you. Like my nose, like I feel like a sneeze is coming on, but it's like it's not
Yeah.
happening.
Dude, the allergies have been kicking my ass, I swear. It's been
Same.
rough this week.
Mm.
Um do you have a
Bum,
least
bum,
favorite
bum,
world?
bum. Um, I mean, I don't feel like anyone really likes Monstro. Deep Jungle,
Mhm. Yeah, Deep
I'm kind of glad they
Jungle's.
never brought back. Just because the platforming is so bad. And I think a
Mhm.
lot of that has to do with just KH1's like platforming
Yeah.
being kind of janky in general. Um, but like the section of Deep Jungle with the vines that you have to swing
Mm.
across, I am not a fan. Not a fan. Um, plus I just the 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 amount of times you had to fight Saber,
Yeah,
however you want to say its name,
I think it's Sabor.
I was just like, why? Like, why am I fight? It's like how in like Fragmentary Passage you have to fight the Heartless Tower like 5 times. That's how
Hmm.
it felt fighting Sabor in KH1 in Deep Jungle. I was like, why won't this dude just stay away? Like we have
Yeah.
done nothing but beat his ass like 15 times. Why does he keep coming back?
Oh,
Um,
the
and then
world is
Clayton was just
also.
boring. Clayton's just boring.
Mhm. Yeah, the world is very uninspiring too. It's just a
It's
jungle.
so yeah. It's just like, oh boy, another tree. Oh look, another tree. Oh look, what is that? Another tree. It's like, okay.
Yeah. I think
Yeah, I'm
it's
not I'm not a Deep Jungle fan.
yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, there's just not really much going on with that world, and to be honest, probably not a bad thing that it
There's a
didn't
reason.
return.
Yeah, there's a reason it never came back. That's all I'm
Yeah.
gonna say. There is a reason Deep Jungle never came back. They realized, wow, maybe this world is not it. Like
Mhm.
maybe we did not do a good job with this world. You know, it's like I respect them for trying to. I think I think it's just one of those things. It's like Tarzan is just such a limited
Yeah.
like thing. Like it all takes place in this one part of this jungle. Like it's so you're so confined in Tarzan. So it's like
Yeah.
making a whole world out of it feels very just
True. Yeah. There's not really much to work with the source material. So I guess to be honest, what they did was fine, you know. So
They
it's
did what they could with what they had. It
exactly.
just I just still was like, why? You know, it's like they did what they could with what they had, and
Hmm.
that's fair, and I understand that. It's still like that though, so it's like
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
to some extent though, I always think back when people bash on Arendelle and they're like, it's just the mountain. And it's like all the worlds were better before Arendelle. Arendale's the worst, but it's like, but Deep Jungle
That's
though.
just delusion. That's just delusion. That's
But
crazy.
but
You
yeah,
could say that about like half the fucking worlds then. It's like
yeah.
it's just the mountain. It's like Olympus. You're just climbing up fucking Mount Olympus the whole time. That's the whole world.
I mean,
You're
yeah,
climbing
you're
up
not
Mount
wrong.
Olympus, you know? It's just like that's just delusion. I
But
think
yeah,
people just hate it because people were tired of Frozen.
yeah, that's probably true. I think for the most part, I
Olympus,
mean,
dude, even before KH3, Olympus has been nothing but the fucking arena, except for KH2. But in every other
yeah.
game Olympus is in, it's just the arena. You're in a building. You're in one building with a courtyard.
Well,
Congratulations.
that's kind of the thing with a lot of the older games is that there's not really much to go off of.
No.
Obviously, like so, Kingdom Hearts One, Neverland, you're on the boat the whole time, which
Mm-hmm.
some people argue that that was supposed to be a. I think they said there was supposed to be a Treasure Planet world initially, and then they decided to make it Neverland. That's why it's only the ship. But it's like, yeah, you just have the ship, and obviously,
Yeah.
like later games, get to actually explore Neverland. Um, and then I think for the most part, like obviously there's Monstro, and then you get to explore Monstro,
In the
woo!
fucking whale.
And
We're
then
back in the whale.
Dream Drop, you get to explore Prankster's Paradise, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I think every game has their. It's kind of like with Pokemon. Everyone's like, oh, this generation was the best, and every new one is sucks. It's like, yeah, everyone's got their preferences, and
Yeah.
it's just how it is.
I just think that some people are just living in a delusion because they're
Mm.
probably sick of the film that the worlds are based on.
Yeah,
Um, but I think I don't think anyone's gonna disagree with me when I say that Deep Jungle kind of sucks.
yeah. I would. I've yet to meet a Deep Jungle defender. I'm
Me
sure they're
too.
out there. I would love to meet them and get their take on it.
Yeah. If you're a Deep Jungle defender and you think that Deep Jungle is great, please explain because I am more than willing to hear you out. I genuinely I would love for my mind to be changed on this because it is the one part of Kingdom Hearts like reruns that I'm just like I'm dreading every time I
Hmm.
play that game is Deep Jungle. So please change my mind. I would love to hear like I, I would love to get a new perspective on it.
You know what I would love to get a new perspective on is somebody who doesn't like Kingdom Hearts 2 and thinks that it's like the worst game in the series.
Oh
That
yeah.
that
Oh
isn't
yeah.
being like a pedantic
Contrarian.
asshole. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just isn't being a contrarian to be a dick. Yeah.
Yeah, they're literally
Like
just
someone
like
with like a legitimate reason for why they don't like KH2. Yeah.
yeah. I'd be so curious about it, especially if it's a very well thought out and not just
I don't
you don't play as Sora in the beginning, so I didn't care, and it's just like okay.
there's a 3 hour long prologue where you play as this asshole named Roxas who's just moody. It's like okay.
Yeah, some real
You mean one of
IGN
the
vibes.
best, one of the IGN, the type of people to go straight from 1 to 2 and be like, "Who's this? Who's this guy? Who are these people? What's with all the black coats? What's going on?" It's like, "Did you play Chain of Memories?" "No." Um,
It's just a side game, right? Side games aren't important.
yeah. Um, no, genuinely, I agree. I don't think I've ever like, I feel like it's just not possible to
Hmm.
be like, "Yeah, I love Kingdom Hearts. 2 sucks." Like, I just don't think it's possible
Hmm.
because it's like everything that makes Kingdom Hearts great is encompassed in that game.
Exactly, 100%.
I just don't think you can say that you like Kingdom Hearts and then hate Kingdom Hearts 2.
Hmm.
I don't care if it's not your favorite, but you can't be like, "This game sucks." Like,
Right.
I don't think it's possible.
I think most people usually have it in their top three. So for somebody to just be like, it's not even in like top five, I'd be like, okay, I'm curious.
Yeah,
Because
because 'cause
like,
I'd be like, "Please tell me your list, because in what world are you potentially putting Recoded over 2? Like, in what fucking universe do you live in?"
that or they put Recoded in the same ballpark as to and Chain of Memories.
It's just
That would
not
be
it no.
s-
No.
such a unique take that I would
I'd be
I'm
like, "What a
hunting that
silly little
person.
world you must live in."
Yeah.
Be like,
But
what a silly little world you live in."
I assume that anybody who probably has that opinion probably has some really well thought out opinions to the point where they're
I mean, I'd love to hear them. I
it's
would
almost
love to sit down and debate it.
it's like when you give like it's like you gave that game a 90, but like you gave these other games 98 and like 99, so it's like, oh, you don't think it's bad, but you think the other games are better. But it's so
Mm,
curious because most people would probably give Kingdom Hearts 2 like that 99% like perfect game. Honestly,
mhm.
probably some people will probably say it's a 100% perfect game.
Yeah,
um
absolutely. Like, if 100 people are in a room together, right, and 99 of them say that Kingdom Hearts 2 is great, and then one of them says that Kingdom Hearts 2 is bad, I'm spending the rest of my time talking to that person who is like, "Kingdom Hearts 2 is bad." Not to hate on him, but I'm just like, I need to understand. Like, I just need to understand. Like, I think everyone's opinion is valid,
uh-huh.
but, like, I legitimately cannot comprehend a world in which you think 2 is a bad like, I would need to hear the reasoning, you
Right, right,
know?
right.
It's just like, I have no problem if you have a different opinion, I don't really care because my life's gonna be unaffected either way. But I
Uh-huh.
just wanna know I wanna understand how you got to that conclusion, because clearly, you had to do some fucking mental gymnastics to get there. And if you are brave enough to make that declaration in a world where you know that everyone else loves 2, like, I need to hear it.
Yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to the day when I ask that question and then somebody's just like, "Yeah, that's me." And I'm like, "Oh boy. This is the I wouldn't say it's the reason this podcast was made, but it's kind of a side quest for it now where I'm
Yeah,
just like,
yeah. It's just this, like, constant story arc that's going on in the background. It's like a
yeah.
subplot, you're like, "I need to find this person."
I mean sometimes I get surprised when I ask people questions like when I asked Dax what his favorite world was and he hit me with Toy Box and I was like, "Damn." It's like I don't think I've ever met somebody who said Toy Box was their favorite world.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I don't think I have either.
Yeah. Did I ask you what your favorite world was?
No, you asked me what my least favorite was, and we went on a whole rant.
Oh, I think I was gonna ask you what your favorite was after your least favorite, and yeah, we got sidetracked. What is your favorite?
I don't oh, man. Favorite Kingdom Hearts world? That's so hard. Um,
Yeah, I probably should have sent you these questions ahead of time.
no, it's okay, cause it's like, if I have too long to think about it, it doesn't feel genuine than just, like, the first thing that pops to mind.
Mm.
Kingdom Hearts 3: Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, okay.
So fun. So fun.
Dude,
Kingdom Hearts,
the boats were
dude,
hard. That was
but it was
hard.
so fun though. Once you figured it out, it's a
Mm.
good time. It's gonna be Kingdom Hearts 3, Pirates of the Caribbean, or KH2, Halloween Town.
Okay, yeah, those are solid picks. Especially
I
since Cage 2 Halloween
adore them.
Town also had Christmas Town. So,
Yeah, exactly. It
mm.
took what I already liked from KH1 and just expanded upon it and made it better. and I didn't have to fight a fucking house. So that was cool. I didn't have to fight a house with like tumors growing on it.
Yeah, you had to fight some
That
like
was a decision choice for a boss fight.
it was
That
that
was a
100%.
choice that they made. That was certainly a choice that they made.
That was also one of those things that like in the first game, wasn't it like there was a Trinity mark that you had to get before
Uh-huh.
you defeated Oogie Boogie? And
Yep.
then in the original game, if you didn't do it, that was it. You couldn't get it.
You
And
couldn't
then
get it. You soft locked your game. Like you couldn't get that that Trinity.
yeah, but then I think in the re or 1.5 they added it to where if you didn't get it, it would just show up like on the ground afterwards.
Yeah, it shows up on the ground like by the root of the tree,
Yeah.
which
What?
I st- eh, yeah, they
Yeah.
made a tree a boss fight. I don't know. Weird. Not even a tree. They made a fucking house a boss fight.
Mhm.
Strange.
Yeah.
I love that
I,
world, but that particular creative decision, I'm not seeing the vision.
it's definitely something, that's for sure. As someone who's just like I don't think I had seen Nightmare Before Christmas before playing that world in KH1.
Yeah,
So it was just one of those things where I'm like, oh, is this what happens in the movie? And then I watched the movie and I'm like, oh, it isn't. That's just something they decided to do. I was just
it's
like,
just something that
okay.
they did on their own. Yeah, very weird, very strange. Was not the biggest fan of it.
Hmm.
It's not like it's like it's not even that it's hard. It's just like annoying to deal with.
Yeah, it kind of gives off a lot of Trickmaster in Wonderland, where it's
Yeah,
just like kind of annoying because you're constantly jumping, having to hit certain parts, and it's like not. It's so different from all the other boss fights. You're just kind of like, yeah, I could take or leave it, honestly.
yeah. It's like I would totally be fine if it wasn't in the game. I would be totally fine if the Oogie Boogie fight was not in the game. The Oogie Boogie house fight.
The Oogie
Sorry.
Boogie house.
Yeah, if that were just not in the game, I'd be okay. I'd be like, all right. I would not feel like my experience has been ruined because the house boss fight is not in the game.
Right. Was KH1 your first game?
Um, so my first exposure to Kingdom Hearts ever
Uh huh.
was when I was like a little kid, and I had a little kid, like I was younger, and
Hmm.
I had this like babysitter watching me one night because my parents were going out. And they had brought their DS over, and I was watching them play Recoded, and then I was like,
Oh.
"What is this?" And then after that, I didn't pick up Recoded. I just like I went on to YouTube and watched through some of the gameplay, starting with Kingdom Hearts 1 until I eventually did just get KH1, and that was like my first one that I personally played through. And then I played them all, obviously.
Hmm.
But like my first exposure to Kingdom Hearts ever was like being really young and seeing someone playing Recoded on their DS, and I was like, oh, holy shit! Like this looks so cool.
See that that goes back to what I was saying before with like asking some of these questions too, because like most people are like, oh yeah, I saw it at GameStop, but the fact that your
Mm-hmm.
first encounter was like recoded, and then it's just like that's such like a like a different like point to just be like out of all the
Mm-hmm.
games he could have played, he could have played Dream Drop, he could have played Days. He was recoded, which is ironically like the least story driven. The fact that it's like the least story driven game, and then you were
Yeah,
just like fascinated by it to at least get into it.
yeah,
You would
because
think
I was
that.
just like, these character designs are like super interesting. I
Uh-huh.
was like, these are Disney characters, but like they look kind of cool. And then I was like, who's this kid? I like that he has like a key as a sword. Like that looks kind of sick, you know? Just certain design choices like that I thought were like really interesting. And so it made me like intrigued to look into the games more.
Yeah, and I guess in all honesty, like Recoded is just Kingdom Hearts 1. So it's like you kind of had secondhand exposure to KH1, but not really, but
Yeah, I had
so
like bootleg KH1.
yeah, yeah. Which is funny too,
Um,
because like you would never recommend anybody to play Recoded as their first Kingdom Hearts
no,
game,
absolutely
but
not.
yeah, no, it's an interesting story. Yeah, I
And
mean
when
I feel
I mean,
like
like, I was, like, young. Like, when did Recoded come out? I think it was literally the same year Recoded come out was probably how
uh
old I was.
so I know Dream Drop came out in like 2012 because that was the first time I bought a Kingdom Hearts game day one, and I think Recoded came out a year or two
October of
before.
2010. October
Yeah,
of 2010.
that lines
So,
up.
I would have been, because it was when we were visiting my family for Christmas, so I would have been, like, mm, if it was around Christmas time, if it was Thanksgiving, I wouldn't have been 10 yet. If it was Christmas, it would have been 10 because my birthday's in
Mm.
December. So if it was Thanksgiving, I was probably 9. Um, but if it was at Christmas, I would have been 10 by that point. Um, but yeah,
This
so I was like 9, 10 years old.
Guess it just goes to show you how powerful KH is the fact that you could literally watch Recoded and then still be addicted and be like,
Oh
a
yeah.
hot damn.
Yeah, I'd be like, I need to check this out, and then it took over my life, as it does. Um, but that was my first experience with Kingdom Hearts. Was I saw someone else playing Recoded, and I was like, this
Mhm.
looks neat, and then I went and I just spent way too much time uh learning everything I could about it. So,
Nice. Yeah,
which
I
is just
mean,
it's crazy because now I'm just like, I think Recoded is a waste of time.
yeah, I know. That's why it's so funny when you told me
It's
that
so
Recoded
funny.
was your
Yeah,
first.
yeah. And then there's modern me that's like, God, Recoded's a waste of time.
Yeah. It's like, thank God for it. It existing, or else who knows if you never
Dude,
had that
I
encounter.
don't know. Yeah, I don't know where I would be in my life if I had not had just randomly come across Recoded one day because my babysitter decided to bring their DS over.
So did you at that point did you have like to buy the games like individually, or did you get like the collection when you got into it?
Um, for a while, I just was like watching gameplay
Oh,
on YouTube,
okay.
like watching people play through the games on YouTube, just because I didn't have a PlayStation for a while when I was growing up.
Mhm.
But the whenever I did finally get them, the collections,
Okay. Yeah, that makes
the
sense.
like 1.5, 2.5 collection.
Yeah, cuz I know that like that you're a little bit younger than I am. So I was just like
Mm-hmm.
thinking I'm like it's like one of those moments where I'm like, "Oh, well, you at that point probably the collections were just coming out. So if anything you
Yeah,
had
because the
probably just
collections came
picked
out in
them
like
up."
2013.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. They came out shortly. I want to say yeah, shortly after Dream Drop. It was like
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in between. Like yeah, no, I remember after Dream Drop. I think even before Union Cross even came out. Yeah, they dropped the PS3 ones. Hmm. Speaking of looking at stuff online, do
Sorry,
you
I'm
watch?
trying to find the release date. See,
Oh no, you're good.
I'm
Do
listening.
Okay. No, I was just gonna say for since you said you were like online a lot looking at stuff, do you have any like KH creators that you followed or anybody that you're fans of?
Super Butter Buns. I love me some Super Butter Buns.
Super
I
Butter
feel like
Buns.
I feel like if you're around Kingdom Hearts or like just Square Enix stuff, you've probably ran into their
Hmm.
content before.
I've seen a few of their
For sure.
videos. Yeah.
Um, I don't know. It's weird. I'm in this very strange place that like I have this sort of, but not really, parasocial relationship because it's like a lot of Kingdom Hearts content that I consume is my friends' content. It's like a lot of Kingdom Hearts content creators are also people that I'm just friends with. So
Hmm.
it's like, like you, like Kelly, like Dax, like there's a few like prominent Kingdom Hearts content creators that I'm just like, these are just my homies. I'm like, so it's this weird like kind of parasocial but not really relationship because it's like I watch y'all's content and I consume it and then I see that I'm in it. And then it's just this
Yeah.
weird thing where it's like I recognize y'all as content creators, and like these internet personalities, but also I just know you guys personally in my
Yeah.
like in my life. So it's just like I don't know. It's very strange. It's this weird thing for me because I think it has to do with the fact that I myself am not like an active content creator.
Hmm.
I can't be like, "Oh yeah, y'all are fellow content creators." It's just like you guys are content creators that I enjoy and watch, and I'm also just friends with,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, I would say you're in the same realm as all of us. It was just one of
Yeah.
those things that, like you said, your life, you didn't have, you couldn't make it work as well for
Yeah. Now that I'm
longevity.
out of school,
Hmm.
I I am in the process of I was gonna start making content again actually towards the end of last year, but like my PC shit the bed
Mm.
drastically and I lost everything.
Oh no.
Like scripts deleted, um footage that I had recorded gone. I was just like, "Oh shit." Cuz I was planning on coming back and making I had so much in the backlog of what I was making and it was just was gone in an instant. And I was like,
Damn.
so I was like, I think this is a sign for me to take a little while to return.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, like I said, you have to definitely, that after taking such a big loss, you definitely want to take some time to yourself. You can't just like jump right back
Like
into that.
I had an Owl House video that I was working
Ooh.
on for like 3 months that the script was almost done for and it was gone. And when I tell you, I like nearly cried
Well, I can
because
imagine.
I was like, I have been spending months on this and it's just gone. It's just gone. This is-
Do you remember like most of it, or like could you like
It,
recreate it at some point?
I mean, I could. Like it would take not nearly as much time, but it's just the like salt is
Yeah.
stopping me. I'm just like I'm still so salty over it. It's just like I know I'd start working on it again and just get angry,
Hmm.
you
Well,
know?
hopefully, if anything, if you give it a second try, you'll like be able to like remember a lot of the key points and then maybe make it better than the first time.
Yeah, it's like
So,
I remember most of what I was like was most of what I was alluding to and most of the point. Like it was basically in the finishing processes of being done.
uh-huh.
And I was just the worst happened. And I was
Yeah,
like, well, unlucky. But I do remember most of like what I wanted to talk about, how I wanted to say it, that kind of stuff.
yeah, I definitely was in a similar situation where I have all my footage and all my edits on a hard drive, and then there's one time I plugged it into my laptop and it was just gone. Like everything was just gone from it. And I
It's
found
the
out
worst,
that
man.
there's a way to like recover it. There's like some
Mm.
programs that it can like run and read every, because like whenever you delete something off like a hard drive, it's never gone
Mhm.
100%. You There's ways to retrieve it. It's not guaranteed. It all depends on
Yeah.
like the condition of the files. So there was like a lot of stuff I lost, but luckily I was able to retrieve the most important stuff. But yeah, I think there was like a few clips that I ended up losing, and it wasn't like the end of the world because I could just make new clips. The
Mm.
edits were the one thing that I was, um, well, I guess technically the edits weren't too bad because I could always just re-download them off TikTok, which I think I had
Mhm.
to do with a few of them, which is kind of funny, but I have to restore what I had
Yeah.
to where I was. So hopefully, if anything, maybe that might be a scenario with your situation where you could maybe restore some of that stuff. But if anything, at least if you whenever you
Like
get
it
that
wouldn't be the
itch,
worst thing in the world to redo. It's just
yeah, yeah.
finding
If
the motivation to get it done.
Right, you get that itch again, and then you're like, okay, I can sit down and go
Yeah.
round two on this. It's
Yeah.
just that I just resonate with that feeling that you had of just like looking at that and it all being gone and just like your
Yeah.
heart sinking.
I mean, I cuz all I thought about was like the time that I invested into that is just
Right.
for
And since
nothing now.
time is such a big thing for you too.
I was like, this was time I could have spent doing something. It's like, do I regret it? Absolutely not. Is it just the most unfortunate thing that could have happened? Yeah.
Hmm. Damn.
But such is life.
Yeah. I mean,
It happens. I know I'm not the only person that's ever happened to, that's for sure.
it do be like that, which is unfortunate. But I will wait with bated breath for that the
It'll
Mystic
get done.
comeback.
It'll get
Yeah.
done. It'll happen.
Are
It's
you
just like
are you planning on doing just YouTube, or are you sticking on TikTok?
I'm still working through that because it's like I would love nothing more than to come back, but it's just I don't feel like I have enough ideas for like I'm not like a skit person.
Yeah, I
You know what
get
I
you.
mean? It's just like I I'm much more a person. It's like I need to be. I do a lot better engaging with something like giving active commentary or working with content or
Uh huh.
media that I'm like actively engaged in like with, you know, like playing games, right? It's
Yeah,
like
that
I
makes
just work a
sense.
lot better in that environment, I feel.
Yeah, definitely, because like the type of content I put out is vastly different than like
Mm,
Dax and Kelly.
mm.
So everyone has their like their shtick that they can
Yeah,
they vibe with. So it, like I said, it's all just a matter, because that's the thing too, is I didn't even want to like show my face initially. That was like a big
yeah,
thing I talked to Dax about. I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to, but then I got to the point where I was just like, I can't really afford a VTuber model. And then on top of that, it's just like so much easier to just go face forward and you know call it a day, instead of having to like secretly hide and make sure no one finds out about everything. So right now, as of right now, I tend to just keep like most of my private life pretty like um private,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then just most of my stuff is all not even face forward anyways, so most people don't even see my face. But I have been trying to branch out a little bit more with like this podcast, to at least show a little bit of the personality of like the person behind the
for sure,
edits.
for sure.
So it's small stuff like that, the trivia video showing up in like Dax's videos and
And
Kelly's stuff.
I think that's a very good thing to just get yourself more comfortable with it. But like
Yeah.
I think it's strange when people are like you have to be all or nothing. You have to always be showing yourself or never show yourself. It's like I think that's
Right.
weird. I think that's
Hmm.
weird. I think it's just whatever you feel comfortable with because it's like the only person who should have a say in it is you. It's like me, it's like I've never really cared about hiding or showing my face. It's just one of those things. It's like I have never like it's something I've just never given much thought because I'm like
Yeah.
I don't know. I could totally live with no one ever seeing what I look like, or I also don't care at all if people know what I look like. It's just one of those things like I don't know. I don't care. I feel like I don't care as much about it as other people do,
Hmm.
and I'm not saying that that is a good or a bad thing. Um, I keep every other aspect of my life just so private that it's like this is the one thing I'm willing to bend on, you know?
Yeah.
Because like everything about me is pretty private.
Well, the one thing that got me though is always the I know you had mentioned this before, but like the parasocial relationships, and it's not so much that like the degree that you are at isn't necessarily like I have an issue with, but it's like some of those people that are like obsessive. Those are the ones
Mm,
where I'm kind of like that's a little scary. And
mm,
so I feel like a lot of the times when you are very face forward and personality driven, people latch onto it and they're like,
yeah,
that's my best friend. I
yeah.
I watch them, I hang out with them all the time. That's the thing that kind of freaks me out a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, let's try to avoid that as much as possible, which
No,
luckily
I totally get that.
I have not encountered that.
I think
But
me not being as nearly of a prominent personality as like you or Dax or Kelly or some of the others is
mhm,
just that like I think me not being nearly as prominent of a personality helps me a lot in terms of like that's not something I actively have to worry about because it's
yeah.
like, you know, if I show my face and someone does get to that point, it's like they're not gonna find me. Like
Right.
good luck finding any of my content anywhere because it's like
Right, right.
it's out there. Good luck finding it, you know.
Well, I
Um,
I think it's like a double-edged sword though, because it's like I do notice that like the ones that are face forward, like Kelly and Dax, they do get a lot more interaction with
mm,
like reoccurring people. Not to say that like all the people that recurringly like show up on their streams or comment are parasocial, like in a
mm,
parasocial relationship. It's just more so that like there is more of like a benefit to having that personality for other people to be like, this is my guy, this is my favorite guy, and I associate with them. So
yeah,
it's like a weird sort of situation because like nobody really knows me, so it's hard to relate to me, and all you know is my editing, which is not
yeah,
necessarily a bad thing. But then because I kind of view my account and my content as like a portfolio, because I want to
yeah,
be an editor. That's the end goal. It's just if either I'm editing for myself or editing for someone else.
yeah,
um but
for sure.
it's a different approach to it, and I guess in a way to kind of shine a light on like your aspect of however you want to approach it. It's like there's definitely more than one way. So you didn't want to do skits, and so like for me, I never I don't have anything against skits, but like that's not my bread and butter.
Yeah,
So
exactly. It's like I I
yeah.
I have such respect for people who can do it because Lord knows I'm just not that creative.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
it's like
it's
I have no problem with that type of content. I just am not capable of making it. I just know myself well enough to know that I can't make it like
it's fair.
consistently. I could do one every now and then, but like
Right, yeah.
people who could just pump it out like 2 or 3 times a week, I'm like, you're crazy. Not me.
Hmm. Yeah, honestly, like major props to the people like Kelly and Dax who just they fucking even like I see so much that even just like Dax on his end, like all these big projects that he works on,
Mhm.
especially when those videos finally come out and then you see like, okay, so he's been silent for this amount of time, and you're like, okay, I can see what he's been silent on. And
Yeah,
then you've got Kelly on the other angle where it's like the live streams, the
yeah.
TikTok videos, the
Just a
shop.
content machine.
Yeah. And then like there's just so much going on, and then I imagine whatever's happening within their individual discords, that's a whole other job of like maintaining that. That's
Yeah,
why my Discord, nobody could talk in my Discord, cuz I told Dax, I was like, because we had the same conversation about like, oh well, I don't want like people coming into like a Discord and then being weird, and then we have to like moderate it, and I also just don't have time to moderate a Discord. But it's like I
yeah,
also would like something where I could post like updates for people who want to use it to be like, oh, I posted a new YouTube video or yada yada. So I'm like, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna post the stuff that I want people to see, but I'm the only one that can post in it, and if you want to join and look at it, you can see all the shiny Pokemon that I catch, or any funny videos or
mm,
pictures and artwork I share. And so that was my way of tackling the Discord thing, which is like probably not practical, but that's how I
I mean,
wanted
if
to
it
go
works for
about it.
you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but it's interesting. It's definitely a different angle that
Yeah,
I could say maneuvering it is it's been an interesting experience for sure.
yeah, I can imagine.
Hmm. But on
Yeah.
that note, we have been going on for a while. I got
Oh,
one last question for you. I don't want to take up too much more of your time.
no,
I
it's
know we've
okay.
been
I
going
just
on for
looked
three
down.
more
I just looked
hours.
down to see what time it was, and I realized like, oh shit.
Yeah, we've been yapping as the
As you do,
title
as you do.
as the title on this podcast says.
Yapdom
Yeah.
Hearts, bro.
Well, because I had a list of questions, and it's usually it's like, oh well, we'll just talk and then we'll get around to it, and then we kind of were like answering the questions as we were going along, and then whenever there
Mm,
was like a lull, I was like, all right, what questions have I not asked? And then just
yeah.
now I was like looking at it to ask the next question. And I'm like, oh, I've asked all the Kingdom Hearts questions, and I have one question left that's not Kingdom Hearts related, and I'm
I'm
like, you know
intrigued.
what? We'll end on this one.
Okay, I can rock with this. Let's go.
Top three anime, go.
Top three anime.
Yeah.
Oh, ooh, ooh. Okay, okay. Hmm. Okay, I will preface this by saying, I'll preface this by saying,
It's a big thing to think about.
it is. It really is. One is One Piece. One Piece is my favorite anime. I
Hell
love
yeah.
One Piece. I adore it. It's so good. Um, Anyone who's ever thought about just giving One Piece a chance, I promise you, and Brisk can vouch,
Uh-huh.
you will not regret it. It's so incredible. It's incredible. There's a reason that everyone who loves One Piece says it's the best piece. It's the best anime. It's just
Yeah.
because it's like it's so insanely good.
It's the same thing with
Um,
Kingdom Hearts. Like you don't really know how good Kingdom Hearts or One Piece is until you start playing
Till
them
you
and you're
try it.
like you get it. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I feel like with One Piece, it's like once you even get like 5 episodes in, you start to get the vibe for it and then you're like, okay. It's like I think definitely what gets a lot of people is the God, I forgot the name, but the scene with the dog. Um
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a big scene. And then you get all the way to
I What I tell people is this is what I
mhm.
always tell people when they're like thinking about getting to One Piece, but they're like it's too long. Genuinely, this is the best advice. Don't look at it like you have to get caught up to
Oh yeah.
have an opinion on it. That's ridiculous. I think that's unrealistic to ask anyone. What I always say is watch until Arlong Park.
Our
Watch
yes,
through
yes.
Just watch East Blue. Just watch East Blue. Immediately 1000 plus episodes becomes 60,
Mhm.
right? Watch the East Blue saga. Get through Arlong Park. If you get to the end of Arlong Park and you are not sold, then One Piece probably just isn't for you, and that's
Right.
totally okay. But if
Uh,
you get to the end of Arlong Park and you're like, I'm super invested in this, it only gets
mhm.
better. It only gets better.
Yeah,
Um,
and for reference, Arlong Park is like the first 50 episodes, and I
yeah.
think I haven't finished the live action series, but I think it's the first season of the live action, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that where it
Yeah.
ends?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because season one is just the East Blue saga
yeah.
in
So
the live action. So it's like first 50 to 60 episodes of the anime, you know, which immediately is a lot more manageable.
yeah,
And if you get through Arlong Park and you're like, nah,
mhm,
you gave it an honest try, and it's probably just not for you, and that's fine. That's
mhm.
totally fine. Um,
Yeah. Arlong
you
Park
know,
is definitely in my top 5 arcs, and
it's
I'm
so
like,
good.
I'm almost
It's
caught
so
up.
good.
I'm on like episode 1030, and I
Mm,
would definitely say definitely top 5. I would probably put it number 4.
it's
Yeah.
so good because that is when the One Piece truly starts to like gain its footing
Oh,
of
it's
like
that
how it's gonna feel.
that Nami scene. That
Oh
Nami
yeah,
scene is what gets you.
dude. I mean, that scene is just like one of the greatest scenes in the show because
Hmm.
it's the first time you're like, it's the first time you sit down and you realize how invested you are. Like that
Yeah.
scene was the first time I was like, I did not realize I cared like as much as
Hmm.
I do. Um, the Nami scene's great. So One Piece is my favorite. Hmm, top three. Dude, this is so hard. This was one I definitely probably would have had to think about beforehand to get a solidified list. I can tell you this is purely I've read the manga. I've read the whole manga for it, and I adore it.
Hmm.
Kaguya-sama Love is War.
Ooh,
One of my
I've heard good
favorite.
things about that one.
I'm a big rom-com guy. I love rom-coms.
Mm.
You know, One Piece may be my favorite. I enjoy a good punch shonen every now and then, but I'm a good I love me a rom-com. Um, Kaguya-sama Love is War is probably one of my it's probably my second favorite. Um, just because it it's so hard to explain. The manga just did everything I needed it to do. Like for me as a person, you know. It just it truly just did everything for me that I needed it to do. And I adore it. It's so good. And I like that it's just a very fun twist in the rom-com genre, where it's not two people figuring out, like, their own feelings for the other person. It's them just kinda being like, "Oh, I know that I like this person, but I'm gonna get them to prove that they like me first," you know? It's
Hmm.
such a just interesting take on it that, I really enjoy. Um, the
Yeah, no, I
Kaguya-sama
get
Love
that.
is War is probably in my second spot. 3, dude, I'm looking through Crunchyroll's listing right now to try and, like, even see what sticks out. Um,
Yeah, definitely. If
I
you are
almost
big into
want to
rom,
s go ahead.
well, I was gonna say if you're big into rom coms, one of my favorites is Your Love Story. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen it.
I think that's on my to-watch list. I think that's one that I haven't watched yet, but I have full intention to.
Yeah,
Um,
it's really good.
some of these, are like, do we count manga or are we just counting anime?
I'd say yeah, either way. Yeah, if you could say it's
Because,
your
like,
favorite.
Promise Neverland is pretty high up there, but specifically the
Yeah,
manga, because
that's
the anime is not good.
that's what Kelly was saying because
It's
she said it's in her top five, but only season one
only
and
the
then the
manga.
manga. Yeah,
The manga. Well, because season 2 is just such a fucking train wreck. It's
yeah, I've heard.
so just terribly handled. You know what? You know what? This is not okay. This is not a well, I don't know. I don't know if I want to say that because it's like I love that series a lot. But is it top 3?
I will say though, if you ever like,
Hmm.
if after we get done recording and like the next day you're like, I have a definitive top three, you could send it to me. I'll make sure to include it in the episode.
Okay, I can do that. For now, third spot might have to go to Konosuba. I love Konosuba.
Oh, yeah,
Konosuba's just fun, man. It's
I've
just
heard,
fun. It's
I've
just
heard
a
a
good
lot of good
time.
things about
If
Konosuba.
I let this be known, I don't like isekai. I don't like
Mhm.
isekai at all. I think they're all boring. I think they're all mundane because they're all the same.
Uh huh.
Konosuba though is so fun because it is nothing but a satire of the isekai genre.
Oh, really? I did
It's
not know
literally
that.
it's a completely self-aware satire of the isekai genre that actually has a very good like just very good and interesting characters too.
Mm.
It's so funny because it is like an isekai that's just not an isekai. It's great, you know. It's so funny and like the movie is just like one of my favorite anime films. It's
Mhm.
so funny. I just love it.
Yeah,
But it's probably gonna be One Piece, Kaguya-sama, and Konosuba. Those are probably my top 3. I love those anime so much.
all right. Give me a top three One Piece arc tier list. Oh, we all know
Risk.
it's Fishman Island.
Fishman Island. Yeah. Woo! We Fishman
Ho-
Island, bro.
we
It's so good.
we
Yo,
love us some Horty Jones.
dude, Hody Jones. I mean, the best villain. Doflamingo who? Kaido? Sleeper. Hody Jones is the true king of One Piece villains. I mean, he's just the best. I love the part where he
Yeah,
yeah,
right,
and when
right.
he yeah. He's so good. Serious answer though, Water 7. Water 7, all of it.
Hell yeah, hell
Water 7
yeah.
is my favorite One Piece arc. Just all of it. Everything about
Same.
it. Enos Lobby, the actual Water 7 city, the retrieval arc, all of it.
Yeah, it's
Phenomenal.
the perfect
Phenomenal.
storm. You start off with Usopp. You have the
Mhm.
middle with Robin, and then the
Mhm.
last with Mary, and then it's just
We still don't know who Soga King is to this day.
yeah.
We don't know. We don't know.
He's just a friend of
I
Usopp.
I listen, I the Nami scene in Arlong Park like it made me feel
Mm.
things. I was like, "Oh, I did not realize how like invested I was." Robin scene, like, I'm getting, like, emotion like, I'm, like, I'm getting goosebumps right now. Like, actually, I'm getting goosebumps on my arm thinking about it. Robin's scene, and you know which one. You
Yeah,
know the one. I cried, and I have no shame in admitting that. I cried at Robin's scene,
it's such a
and
good
I was
scene.
just like, "This is everything that One Piece is about." Like, this is what it's all about, you know?
Hmm.
Um,
I
so
feel like
Water 7 is just unmatched.
Water 7 is at that point where if you get to Water 7, you're not you're just not dropping One Piece at that point.
No,
That's like
you're on for the ride.
well, you're already
You're
like
on for the ride.
you're like 200 episodes in, and then at
Mhm.
that point you're just like it's fully like your free trial has ended. Would you like to pay for more? And you're just like, well, there's no way
Yeah,
I'm not.
obviously.
Like
Yeah, of
obviously,
course.
yeah. Please take my credit card.
Take my money, please. Um,
Will say that scene for me was like one of the big reasons why Arlong Park was in my top three
mhm.
until Whole Cake, and Whole Cake knocked it down from three to
Whole
four.
Cake's my second favorite.
Yeah, I liked Whole Cake, but I liked the first half more than the last half. I
Yeah,
feel like the last half
yeah.
felt dragged, but like everything up until like before the before the wedding was was really good.
I I think the reason I like Whole Cake so much is one, it introduced a lot of very like cool and interesting characters like Pudding and Cracker and
Hmm.
Katakuri. Like I think they're interesting, but like, dude, thank God that Sanji finally, finally got redemption after Fishman Island as a character. Dude,
Yeah,
I don't think it's a small stretch to say that like Fishman Island Sanji is the most unbearable thing in the world. It's awful. It's so bad because
it was a choice to make
it
his nosebleeds
every
the
time he
things
sees
that
a
it
female,
was.
every time, and he just it oh my god, dude. Fishman Island Sanji is the worst. Period. So
Nosebleeds plot relevant.
apparently it was so bad. And then
Yeah.
you get to Whole Cake, and he actually has like a character, and you get the background with all of the Vinsmoke family, and then you meet, the Charlotte Lin family, and just her whole like, and his scene outside of, the Pudding's house, just
Uh-huh.
like, dude, I was like, oh, they finally like Sanji is here. Like Sanji's redeemed as a character for me. Like I love that. I love that moment so much. Um so Whole Cake's probably my second favorite, and I know you said you don't like the second half, and I think that's fair. I think
Hmm.
that's totally fair. It's
Well,
like the highs of
yeah.
Whole Cake are so good compared to the lows. Like when Whole Cake is good, it's great. When it's bad, it's
Yeah. I think
not.
the thing that gets me the most is more so the mirror stuff, because there
Yeah,
was that point where it was a little bit like overplayed, and I was like, I get it, but at the same time I'm just kind of like, I don't want to see the mirrorverse.
yeah,
I want to see something else, you know.
yeah. It's like, okay, I get it. I've had enough. Yeah.
Hmm.
I think that's totally fair. I think that's a very fair opinion to have. Trying to think
So,
of what my third would be. Here's the thing. Here's what I will say, and I'm not gonna give spoilers at all. Uh,
mhm.
but if Egghead keeps going the way it's going, Egghead might be three.
Oh, I thought is
I
Egghead not finished, or is it finished in the manga?
It's finished in the manga, but
Okay, so
like
the anime is
if they
still in
keep,
Egghead. Okay.
yeah, yeah, anime's still in Egghead, but if they keep adapting it the way it's going, good. I like Egghead a lot as an arc, but
Mm.
is it my third favorite? Mm, no, no, mm-mm.
See,
Impelled Down and Marineford,
really is your
however you want
third
to say it.
favorite?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that makes me curious on what your opinion on Dressrosa is.
It's fine.
You really? Oh, really?
Dude,
It's
it's
like
so hard carried by Doflamingo. It's
it
crazy.
it is.
It's hard
Yeah.
carried by the fact that Doflamingo is the best villain in the show.
That is, I mean, that is, yeah, factually accurate. My thing with like Dressrosa is just all the different like story beats, and just like Frankie's off doing his thing, and
But
then
hear me out. It's hard for me to care with how drawn out it is because the entirety of Dressrosa takes place in a single day.
oh yeah, I guess I hadn't really factored that in.
The
That could be.
entirety of Dressrosa takes place in a single day. That's why when you go back and you watch Dressrosa, it is never nighttime, except in flashbacks. The entirety of Dressrosa takes place in a singular day. It
Huh.
drags horribly. I'm like, why am I watching one day last 130 episodes?
I mean, yeah, that you're not wrong. It definitely is. It definitely was the, what was it? Wasn't it the longest running arc until Wano?
Until Wano.
Yeah.
Because we were in Wano for 4 years. We were in Dressrosa for like 2.5, something like
Mm.
that. Just some ridiculous length.
No, I
And
mean,
it just,
I agree. No, I agree with that. Yeah, it's just more so that I think I really liked a lot of the new characters that showed up, some of the story beats and whatnot. Um,
too many characters for me, man.
I
Like,
mean,
I,
that's
I'm not,
fair.
I like a lot of them, but there's just too many. There's too many.
They did there. Okay, I will admit that the army that follows Luffy is
Yeah.
a very much of like one note characters that maybe will probably get a second chance down the road as like a
Mm-hmm.
callback character. But yeah, that group was a very like mishmash. It's like it has its like moments where there are some moments where they feel very drawn out, but then there's other moments where it's um like the Usopp scene and the Frankie
Yeah.
scene and
Like,
and
there's a
then
scene, and you may know exactly what I'm talking about, but there's a scene where Doflamingo and Isho are talking to each other, and it's awful because I actually really like both of those characters, but one person will say a sentence, and then it'll be 40 seconds of them just looking at each other before the next person talks.
mm.
And that scene goes on for like 10 minutes. And they say like 6 lines of dialogue. It's the worst. Like, it's terrible. Reading Dressrosa is so much easier than watching it,
Oh yeah, I
but
bet.
like, oh my god, watching it, it drags, man.
I will say one of my favorite scenes though is when they try to take off the sea prism stone handcuffs off of a certain character, but like nobody can help them because all the characters there all have devil fruit powers.
Yep.
So they're like, it's like, oh, we got
It's
the
like,
key. It's like,
oh
hurry up,
shit.
open it.
How do
It's
we
like,
how do we do this?
I can't. I have devil fruit powers. It's like, but I also have devil fruit powers. And it's like the three characters that are there that just so happen to not be helpful, which is
Yeah.
also like another angle of like how diverse you have to have your crew to not be all, you have to have half or at least a good mix of devil
Yep.
fruit and non-devil fruit in the event that like you fall into the ocean, because if
Yep.
you are all devil fruit, you're fucked. You're in the
Yeah.
ocean, no one's
You're
coming to
done.
get you.
It's GG's. Um,
All right, so you said it was Water 7, Whole Cake, and then Marine Ford and Impel Down is tied for
yeah, I
3.
kind of count them as the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. I kind of just count them as going hand in hand.
Yeah, I would say so.
No, I would put
Oh,
Wano and Marineford are just so neck and neck for me. Um,
I would definitely say Impel Down is in my top. I would probably put that, honestly.
I love Impel Down. I
I would
love Impel Down.
maybe put Impel Down as 4 and knock Arlon Park down to 5
Because here's the thing about
because
Marineford, right? Obviously, I'm a Ace person. I love
yeah.
me some Ace. His scene with Luffy just destroys me.
Mm.
Like, absolutely destroys me. for like more personal reasons than it should, you know? So I think that's a lot of why Marineford sticks out so much to me. Is just Ace.
My thing with that is that I wish we had more information about Ace prior. Like all the stuff that we find out afterwards, I wish we
Yeah.
knew beforehand. Because,
I think that yeah, I agree. If we had known all
mhm,
that beforehand, it would have done a lot of favors for him.
yeah, because like we only knew Ace, or we've only seen Ace in Alabasta.
Mm,
Um, and so then it's just kind of like he goes off and does his own thing. And then, Marineford happens. And then we get the flashbacks. And then 200 or 400 more episodes we find out later about stuff in like Wano, and then
yeah,
it's like, man, if all this happened and then Marineford, it would have, I feel
it
like
would have
it
hurt.
would have
It
been
would have hurt.
hurt so much more.
I
Yeah.
mean, it already hurt me, but like,
Hmm.
yeah, it would have. I do wish we had spent more time with it. That's how I feel about Sabo too. Like, I wish we spent more
Hmm.
time with Sabo, but we don't,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, he shows up. He's got his one arc that he shows up, just like with Ace, and then he's been very absent. Because
I mean, that's just the Revolutionary Army. They're just not there. They're just not around.
yeah,
That's
that's
just that's
true.
just the Revolutionary Army in a nutshell, you know?
Yeah, because I'm trying to think of like Dressrosa, and then there's that stuff in the Reverie,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like that's it.
That yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so it's pretty much goes hand in hand with Ace, and then the next thing I know, there's going to be another Marineford with Sabo. But at least I guess we got the backstory with Sabo. But I don't know. Dax did kind of tell me something that he says that there's some parallels with pre-time skip and post-time skip, with if you align some of the arcs, there's some
Mm-hmm.
similarities.
Yeah, I know
And
exactly what he's talking about.
yeah, so now I'm just like, damn. But perfect time for me to almost be caught up, because I think I have 80, 70 episodes
You're
left.
so close, man.
I
You're so
know. And
close.
then I got to read the manga, and then I'll finally be free. Not to say that begrudgingly to be
And
free,
then you
but
get
I'm
to
like,
join us in the weekly readings. We have to just sit
woo.
around and fucking wait. And then he goes on month-long breaks, and you're just like, I'm gonna kill someone.
But yeah, no, I'm excited to finally get caught up, but I'm sad to not have any more episodes left. But I've also have not watched any new anime since I started watching One Piece, of like back in
Yeah,
2016. So there's a lot of stuff like Jujutsu no
you gotta catch
Kaisen,
up on.
Demon Slayer. I'm very far behind on.
I won't say a word about Jujutsu Kaisen.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, I plan to watch it. I plan to do a bunch of catch up, and then once I've done all the catch up, I plan to dive into Pokemon, which has more episodes than One Piece.
mm-hmm.
So that'll be its own venture, and do another 8 year stint to watch all of Pokemon.
Yeah, dude, that would take. I don't know how you're gonna do that and like keep your sanity. I believe in you though.
Yeah. I mean, because the thing is, Pokemon is so very repetitive too. But there's just something about it where I was very on with watching it, because like it was one of those things that you get home from school, Pokemon's on TV. Pokemon was also on TV before school as well, and then I
Mm-hmm.
stopped watching around Unova, so I haven't seen anything past Unova. So
I will say the X and Y series is pretty good.
I've heard X and Y is good. I've heard Sun and Moon is pretty good too.
I didn't watch Sun
So
and Moon because I don't like the art style change.
yeah, very
I'm one of
interesting
those people.
decision. Which is funny because I hear that a lot with people with One Piece. A lot of people say that they don't want to start One Piece because they don't like the art style. But for me, to be honest, I didn't even know the art style was the way it was until we got to like midway and they started doing the flashbacks where they had to put the borders on the side. And I was just like, oh shit.
And you
Like, this
don't.
is.
No, that's so. It's so funny with One Piece because you don't realize how like different it starts to look
Hmm.
until you see a flashback and you're like, oh shit, it used to look like this.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
I don't know
Yeah.
if you can recall this scene, but there's this scene in Wano where it's like a chopper fight, and they really put a lot of detail in like his face, and then just like all the other characters, and I'm just like, you could tell that somebody else is like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
make this look anime as fuck, which is funny to say that for for One Piece,
Yeah.
but they really went
Yeah.
above and beyond, and I like that was the first time I ever noticed like a style change, and I was like, damn, like could you imagine the entire series being animated like that? But then it's also like you have over like 1100 episodes, so like no shot that they
Yeah.
would just go ahead and do it. It would be great. Well, they do plan to, they have that One Piece like recap anime that they plan to
Oh
release.
yeah.
Yeah, The One
Yeah.
Piece, I think,
The
right? Was it called The One Piece?
sure. Something like that.
So
I'm not
maybe
gonna
it could
watch
look
it.
like that.
I'm sure, like, cause it looks great, but I'm
Mhm.
like, if I just wanted to start One Piece over, I would just start One Piece over.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's one of those like a 358 or recoded like cutscene movie day situation,
Pretty
where
much.
they
That's what
pretty
it
much,
feels like it's gonna be.
yeah, because I'm like, I don't know how much you're
From
gonna
what
be
of it I
able.
have seen, that's pretty much how it feels.
Yeah, I'm curious, but we'll see in what
I'm
direction that
super
goes in.
interested to see. Dude, I'm just, oh my god. I'm ready for you to catch up to One Piece, man. I need to talk to you about Egghead when you get there.
Dude, I'm getting there. Like I said, I haven't, I feel like I'm getting close to gear 5. I
What
know
episode are
it's
you on?
I am on, let me get the exact number here. Let me actually just pull up Crunchyroll,
Real.
because I think I watched another episode today during my lunch break.
Mm.
I'm on 1026. So, and I know Wano isn't Wano all the way up until like 1080.
Yeah.
So I still have like 50 more episodes.
1026. Give me a
Yeah.
second.
So I assume I still have about 50 episodes left of Wano, and
Why is my Crunchyroll logged out? What the hell?
most of the time, if I'm going off of previous One Piece knowledge, that form change is probably going to be like closer to the end, because then they always have like that like 20 episodes of like after the fight's over of them just like hanging out, and I guess it's not 20, it's maybe like 5 or 10. um so
Hanging
I
out at
imagine, well, so like,
Wano?
no, well, I think about like everyone's favorite arc, Fishman, where after,
Best arc in the show. I mean,
yeah,
truly.
after everything that happened in the Fishman arc, they were just like hanging around and talking and whatnot. And then there's the stuff with like the the Big Mom pirates, and there's always something that they do at the end of every arc before they like leave to go to the next arc. Um, so I'm just saying, I'm speculating that if wherever Gear 5 is, it's probably closer to like,
1071.
okay, that's about as what I thought it was going to be,
I I I I
1060,
I have this
1070.
specific. I knew what episode I was looking for. I just had to see
Mhm.
what number it is. It's episode 1071.
Okay. See, here's the thing, is that like I don't care too much when it comes to the fact of knowing that Gear 5 exists or even when it's going to appear. I feel
Knowing it
like
exists and seeing the
Well,
culmination of it are
but
two
here's the
very different
thing.
things.
I was gonna say, yeah, because I don't know what leads up to it. So that's the one thing that I've somehow have avoided this entire time. I know what it looks like. I don't know the extent of the powers. I have a general idea of like what it looks like, but it's like I don't know what I'm looking at. So I'm like waiting to get to that point to fully understand. So, but yeah, I have no context of how he gets Gear 5, what happens when he gets Gear 5, what's like anything like that. And so I'm waiting cuz I have a theory on what's going to cause it, and I feel like it kind of already alluded to it at this last episode. Um but I will refrain from saying any more, and then we'll follow back on you with it when I
I
get to that point.
I say this with the utmost sincerity, and I genuinely mean this. You can know Gear 5 exists, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing it come to fruition, it is truly the
Peak.
culmination of everything that has come before. It
Oof.
is just what you know what Gear 5 is, but what it means
Mm.
is everything that One Piece has been leading to,
I will
and
say,
it's phenomenal.
I'm so fascinated by it because I've kind of, I've always feel like most of the gears are very uneventful, like especially 2 and 3. I feel like
Mhm.
it's like it's not really a form change. Gear 4 is a form change for sure.
Mhm.
And then Gear 5, that definitely looks like some like Gear 4, you could say could be like the Kaioken, and then the Gear 5 looks like it's some Super Saiyan shit. But
Pretty
again, I'm
much.
going off of just visuals. So
Yeah.
we'll have to see when I get there if I agree with that.
I will not say anything because I
Hmm.
would not want at all to ruin it for you.
I appreciate you. Yeah,
Because
no.
it is I was so like I could not contain myself when that episode aired. Just because it was like it is truly the culmination
Hmm.
of everything that has come before. Like what it represents is just so important and it's
Yeah,
so good.
I'm so hyped.
It's an experience. It is just it is truly an experience. God, I
Man,
want to rewatch the episode now. Holy shit.
yeah. Dude,
It's such a good episode.
it's like 4 in the morning, and I'm just like, damn, maybe I should watch some One Piece. And at the same
For
time, I'm
real.
like, well, there's always there's always tomorrow, I
It's
guess.
always
Well, see,
tomorrow.
that's the one benefit about video editing, especially since I make a lot of like obnoxiously long videos.
You have a lot of
Um,
free time to watch you watch One Piece while you're editing.
when I'm exporting, yeah. So
Yeah.
it takes the same amount of time for as long as a video is to export. So if
Yeah.
I can't do anything for 3 hours, I'm just knocking out One Piece. And
Yeah.
so
Real.
I think I don't know if I have any big projects coming up, but definitely any free time, I'm watching One Piece, especially since now you've gotten me.
1071. You're so close.
I
You're
know you've
so
gotten me
close.
so geared up. No pun intended.
Yeah, you're so close to what is truly the peak of One Piece.
Whew, I'm excited.
Like it's so special. It's truly so special. And I sound like a One Piece dick writer, I
Mm,
know, but it's just like I can't overstate how satisfying what Gear 5 what it means
mm-hmm.
is just so important.
Oof, I'm excited. You got me hyped up.
I know, it's good. I got myself hyped up, bro. I want to go watch One Piece now. I
well,
gotta sit around and be like, when's the new chapter coming out?
well, on that note, I would say that is a great note to end on. We got everyone,
Everyone go watch One
the
Piece.
full combination of, hey, welcome to Kingdom Hearts. We're ending on the note of One Piece.
Fishman Island,
Woo!
ladies and gentlemen.
Fishman,
Round of
Horty Jones,
applause.
Horty
Woo!
Jones.
They're gonna hear this and be like, man, I don't want to watch One Piece. This Fishman Island sounds like shit. It's like, yeah,
They're
well,
like,
hey, it can't be perfect all the time.
it's one of the things that Kingdom Hearts fans and One Piece fans have is that they love and hate their series at the same time. Because you could hear
Absolutely.
us talking about Chain of Memories and be like, wow, Chain of Memories and Kingdom Hearts sounds really awful. And then we brag about Kingdom Hearts 2
Then we talk
and
about every other
3.
Kingdom Hearts game. We're like, dude, they're so
Yeah.
fucking good.
It,
One Piece is the same way. You have arcs that you're like, damn, this is peak fiction, and then you have Fishman Island,
yeah.
which is just like, I'm miserable
I
the
feel
whole
like
time.
I feel like there are honestly two series that are just like a match made in heaven. Like I can't imagine, especially with you, me, and Dax being fans of both of them. Like I
Oh
feel like
yeah,
it's just unanimous that if you like Kingdom Hearts, you're gonna like
you're
One
probably
Piece,
gonna like One Piece.
and
A
vice
lot of
versa.
themes are like a lot of central themes kind of like coexist there. Like a
Hmm.
lot of central themes of Kingdom Hearts are also central themes of One Piece.
That is true. Yeah, yeah, because there's a big thing on friendship.
Found family, friendship, that whole deal.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
stuff that I can't say because it's a spoiler.
yeah, it's great. It's great,
When you
and they're
get to Gear
both.
5, I'll be able to talk about it.
We'll do. We'll do. I'll make sure I'll pop off. uh whenever Gear 5 happens.
Mm.
And then hopefully if anything, if there's like a hidden group chat for One Piece, I could finally join in and shoot the ship.
Mm. Oh, me and Dax just be texting each other when new chapters come out. We'll be like, "Did you read the new chapter? You can join in."
Hell
We'll
yeah.
be like, Briss, did you read the new chapter? You better have. Oda's cooking.
Yeah, I would just like have to mute you guys until I read it and then come back and then read up on all the missed messages.
Mm-hmm.
All
So
right.
good.
On that note, I mean, I guess you usually this is the point where I say if you want to plug anything, you go ahead and plug. But I guess you don't really have much to
Let me
plug.
plug my Venmo so you guys can send me money.
Hey,
Let
all
me,
right, drop it.
my Venmo is first name, last name that you're not getting.
All
There you
right,
go.
send
You can
all
throw
your
any random assortment of names in there. You might eventually find me.
yeah, and then I just randomly get a message being like, "Huh, well, my
I text you.
information's
I'm
out."
like, Brisk, I got doxxed on your podcast. Brisk, I accidentally doxed myself on your podcast.
Yeah,
But
it's like
yeah,
now
no,
now I'm
I don't have anything to plug. If you want to watch Union, go watch Brisk's video, his abridged version of Union. Go watch that.
a
If you want more of me, for any reason, I'll probably be here. I'm just around in the community.
Mhm.
You don't have to look too incredibly far to find me. I'm in a lot of people's content for no reason
Yeah.
other than these are all my friends. Um, I'm very thankful to be here today. I'm very thankful to have been given this opportunity. I had a great time. I love yapping. It's so fun.
Hell
It just
yeah.
makes me so jolly, you know. So thank you for bringing me on. I very much enjoyed.
Yeah, no problem. I knew that because the thing was like, there is no way that I wouldn't be able to have an episode without you. I was just
Mm,
like, I already had, because obviously, so Dax had to be the first one because this is how the idea started, is that me and
mm,
him would just have these long winded conversations and we would just
mm.
talk for hours. And I was like, you know what? We should do that, but we record it. And
But what if we
then
made it content?
make content. Yeah.
What
And
if we made it
then
content?
I think at the time I was like, okay, and then I think I reached out to both Dax and Kelly, and then Kelly was like, oh, I she couldn't do it like the next episode, so that's when I reached out to like the other guys with Swood, Oath,
Yeah.
Liza, and Prime, and then I was like, okay, I got the Dax episode, I got the Kelly episode, I gotta get the Mystic episode now.
Oh yeah. It's
So
here. It's here, baby.
hell yeah, and
Woo!
now we got to get an episode of
The
all
Kyrie Defense Force is gonna hate me in the intro. Let's get it. Let's
Hell yeah.
go.
Yeah, that's staying in. That's staying in.
That needs to be the intro. I feel like
Yeah.
that's the only intro you can have at this point, honestly.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. Every time you show up on an episode, I'm gonna put on a soundboard and then that sound is just gonna play over and over again.
Just me being like, I fucking hate Kyrie. It's
Now
okay.
I feel like
I can take
now
it. I can
yeah.
take it.
Now at this point I feel like now I need to get all three of you together for well, I was gonna say another podcast, but honestly, we get all three. Maybe we just do trivia round two.
Ooh,
It's
trivia
been
too? I could
it's been a
I need
minute.
some redemption. I need some redemption. I need to do my
Yeah.
homework and get some redemption.
So I had this like fail-safe plan where I'm gonna write out the questions, and I'm gonna number them, and then I'm
Mhm.
just gonna do a random number generator, and then it'd be like that's how the questions get pulled, so nobody thinks that I'm purposely targeting them.
Yeah, and when you say nobody, you mean me, right? When you say nobody, you mean me, right? Because
I
yeah.
I think it just so happened that like every two questions, I was just like, oh, this is a good one, and it just so coincidentally being like lined them all up just for you.
And they were always the most like, who would know this shit ever?
All right.
Meanwhile, they're like, you gave the others like, who voices Ericus? It's like,
All right,
what do
come
you
on,
mean?
Mystic guy. Just gotta read all the manga, play all
Yeah,
the Kingdom
just
Hearts
read the
side
manga. You know what's
games.
funny? I went out and bought the manga. I
Oh
was like,
yeah,
I need to study. I was like, I need to study
did you
for
buy
when I get asked.
specifically the Days manga, or did you buy the whole
No,
entire thing?
because my the bookstore that has the Kingdom Hearts manga in my town did
Uh
not
huh.
have the days. We just had the OG
Uh,
Kingdom Hearts manga.
okay. I mean that's still good.
That's something. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
something.
You know, I'm
It'll
slowly
hopefully help. We don't know how, but it'll help.
Yeah, no, I'm slowly going through and collecting all the manga,
Mm.
and I'm missing a few here and there. I think I'm missing like one or two of Days. Um, I think the newest one of KH3. I don't have that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I have to double check my collection, but yeah, no, definitely. I think that honestly might be the next one, next project in the works. We'll have
Hell yeah.
trivia
Hell yeah.
round two because it's been a while. Because we recorded the first
Exciting.
trivia in January, and then it dropped
Has
in
it been that
March.
long?
Yeah, because it was in the beginning of the year. I
Wow.
remember because the deadline for it. So the deadline for March Caprice was literally like I think
Oh, that's right.
2 weeks beforehand, and so
Yeah.
I didn't even have the idea to join, and then randomly I was just like, oh, I want to do something, and
That's
then I
right.
was like, came up with trivia, and then just kind of literally just like the idea to to the recording all happened within the span of like I don't even think a week. Like
Yeah.
I had the idea, I messaged you guys, you said yes, and I came up with the questions, and then we picked a day to record. So it was like a day or two, or a week or two in total,
Mm-hmm.
and then I spent like I think like a good month editing it, and then finally got it ready. But you know that's yeah, it was 5 months ago that we
That's
recorded it,
crazy.
and
That does
that video.
not feel that long ago.
Yeah, no, I specifically remember it because in the video in the recording I said that there was a question that I had asked in your reaction. I was like, "Oh, that's like my favorite thing of this entire year." And then Dax is like, "The year just started," and it's just like, "Oh yeah," I was
So
like
yeah, it did. That's crazy.
very close to the beginning of this year. But yeah, no, it's I honestly, if it's like a semi annual project,
That could
then
be
you
fun.
know that could be cool. Yeah,
It could be fun.
that could be
'Cause
honestly like the
Lord
next pod.
knows there's plenty of trivia questions you could ask. You have
Yeah.
literally like an infinite amount.
Well, yeah, honestly, like, most of my trivia is that I go on so do you know what the Wayfinder project is?
Mm-mm.
So there's a Kingdom Hearts content creator called Regular Pet,
Mm-hmm.
and he had a database that he made called the Wayfinder project, and essentially it's something where you could pull up any scene from Kingdom Hearts, and it has like the script, what characters show up in it, has like a little video in it and whatnot, so you can watch it. I use it so much as a good reference point for my videos. But
Yeah,
for
I
the
could see how that would be very helpful for like the type of content you make.
mhm. For the trivia, there's a random button, so I would just be like, "Give me a random scene," and I would watch that scene, and then I would try to find the most
Okay.
absurd thing to pick from it. So, mind you, I only watched 20 scenes, and you can imagine how many scenes there are out of the entire
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
franchise. So definitely a lot of stuff I could pull
Yeah.
from.
That's
I
like a limitless source there.
Yeah, I could honestly like go on for like I don't know, maybe at some point, you know how some people have like their weekly series. I could honestly probably host a weekly trivia just coming up with shit.
For sure. For sure.
Mm. But on that note, we're we're hitting the 4 hour mark here. So I think
Woo!
this is a good place. You know what's funny is that Kelly was like she's like, I'm gonna have the longest episode because we talk so much and we're endless yappers. And then I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if anyone's ever gonna top Kelly. But then at this point, it's like, I think hers was like 4 hours 15 minutes, and I think this is going on for 4 hours. So very close contender,
Very
very close
close.
contender.
We're, you know what? I hit the 4 hour mark. I'm
Yeah.
okay with that.
See, the
I'm
thing
okay
is,
with that.
I only ever expect people to hit the 2 hour mark, and so far we've
See,
hit
I just
three.
don't know how to shut the fuck up. I,
Well,
I don't know.
so the thing with Dax is that he kept me in line, so we finished at around 3 hours, and then the second episode with the other guys, Oath and them, was about a little bit under 3 hours because it was more so just talking about like two specific topics.
Mm.
But it's like it's so much easier when you're talking about yourself to just keep yapping. And then
Yeah,
with Kelly, is that me and Kelly are like the same level of just like nonstop talking. So
yeah,
it got to the point where we didn't even think we were gonna finish it, but then we like buckled down and then we got through and we're like, all right, we knocked it out in like in 4 hours.
yeah,
But
yeah.
then here you come and 4 hours easy peasy. So
Yep.
You and Kelly are neck and neck for the record here.
Professionals. We are
Yeah.
professionals.
But then now Dax is
At
gonna have to come in. He's like, no, now I need a 4 hour episode.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, you know what? I'll do 4.5.
Yeah.
He'll do it. He'll do it just to win. He'll be like, I need a 4.5.
Yeah.
Make it
He's like
5.
he's like, nah, we're going for 5 hours.
Yeah, he'll be like, make it 5, just so they won't want to hit that bench marker. And I'll be like, fair enough.
Hell yeah. Yeah, set the bar so high nobody can reach it.
Yeah, unless,
Unless, like I said,
unless
the episode with all three of us. That's the true. That's
that would be easy 5, easy 5 hour,
yeah.
easy 5 hour episode. But
All right. On that note, I'm gonna end it here. Mystic, it's been great. Thank you for joining me.
thank you for
Uh,
having me.
I guess you did. I guess in a way to plug, if you want to see more of Mystic, subscribe to Brisk
Brisk will
Apollo,
tell you where to find me.
Nobody Daxian, and Kelly Nicole, and yeah,
Yeah, y'all,
hell yeah,
I'm around. I'm easy to find.
he exists. He's in the ether.
I'm here.
You
I'm just a sentience that is here to provide content for other people.
you are the live stream.
I am. This is true. They actually keep me in a little box that they get out whenever it's time to film. They're like, "All right, come on, Mystic, time to record.
we
Come
just
on, Mystic."
we just give you Pringle containers, pizza Pringle containers. That's how
Oh
you
yeah,
sustain yourself.
I'm all out of pizza Pringles. I'm sad.
That's
I'm
all right.
upset.
We'll get somebody
We'll
to
get more.
give you
We'll get
another
more.
can.
Yeah, thank you. I need them by Sunday. Thank you. Cool.
All right. We'll get on it. We'll put a
All
work
right, bet.
order in.
Sweet. But yeah.